240. Market update brought to you by The Good Feet Store. Ready to step into a healthy and active lifestyle? Come to The Good Feet Store and experience the difference. Discover how a simple step can lead to a life of pain-free possibilities.
Andy throwing downfield. Thielen! Did he hang on? Touchdown!
Lobs it right, flat, caught, touchdown. Jordan Waters is wide open.
Looking down the middle again, takes it up top. There's Jordan Moore, and there's a touchdown.
Nesbitt adjusts, makes the catch, avoids a tackle, spins away, and dives home for 6.
Anderson makes a save, and it's kept out by Martin. What a save! Martin just robbed Lindgren. The save of the play.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. On a Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. I'm Tim Donnelly. Dennis Cox producing the show. It is not just a Friday. It is a football Friday, everybody. It is a hockey Friday, everybody. We are not that far away from it being a basketball Friday, everybody. It is a good Friday.
I mean, preseason NBA started today.
So, heck, it is a basketball Friday.
So it's weird. Baseball, where are you right now?
It is a baseball Friday.
No one's playing today, though.
I don't care. I'm still riding high after the Mets yesterday.
That you should be.
So let me enjoy this one. With it being a football Friday, we will have a first touchdown score game that you can play at 4:33. You can call in and predict the Panthers' first touchdown score, meaning who will score the touchdown first for the Panthers and in what quarter they do it. If you get it right, you'll get a nice little prize pack. That's at 4:33, just to put it on your schedule. And it's a football Friday for the NC State Wolfpack versus Wake. And I decided, right, because this team has kind of lived, one of the terms I use, lived a life. It just means you've had a lot happen to you. You've had to respond to a lot. You've had ups and downs. They've lived a life this season already. So I went back, and I wanted to make sure we weren't missing something or we weren't not following through on something that we should be watching. And I read the notes from the last 2 weeks of conversations that we've had about the Wolfpack. That's notes for this show. That's notes for the podcast that I host with Mike Lennon, Pack Therapy. Check it out everywhere podcasts can be found. And I was looking for through lines. I was looking for storylines that kept popping up. And I noticed something. Everything we've talked about with NC State over the past 2 weeks comes down to one thing: their inability to run the football effectively. They go into every game planning to run the ball effectively, right? They go into every game with their offensive game plan needing them to run the ball effectively.
They want to do it.
They want to. They stay committed to, but they haven't been able to do it yet. And this year, they don't even have the kind of escape hatch that they used last year, which was Brennan Armstrong designed runs and Casey Concepcion on creative runs using a wide receiver as a ball carrier. Concepcion hasn't been getting it done, and Brennan Armstrong is graduated. He's somewhere else. I don't know what he's doing. I looked at the results, right? Because now I'm just like, okay, we keep mentioning they can't run the ball. Hey, you got to turn the game over to C.J. Bailey at some point. You got to let him throw it because he can't run the ball. Hey, the defense has to play better, has to get off the field, can't be out there all day because he can't run the football. Hey, against Western Carolina, you struggled early until the fourth quarter when you could finally run the football. Every little conversation we had came back to they need to be able to run the football. So then you go to the next step, right? Once you know there's, the eye test is showing you something, you go to the numbers. They've been averaging 3.9 yards per carry on the season. It's not very good. It's not the worst. You're not dead last in the ACC. You're near the bottom, but you're not dead last. It is worse than that. The last drive of the Northern Illinois game and the last drive of the Louisiana Tech game, not the Northern Illinois game. The last drive, the final drive, the last time you had the ball of the Western Carolina game and of the Louisiana Tech game, which are essentially the games where you ran the ball the best, you had 7 carries for 116 yards on just those 2 drives. The last drives of the game against overmatched opponents that you won by multiple scores, you were able to have your way running the football. 7 carries, 116 yards. If you take away those two drives, it drops all the way down to 3.3 yards per carry on the season.
Oy.
That gets uglier. You add in that your next best running game is against Clemson. What happened against Clemson? They jumped out to a 28-0 first quarter lead. Guess what Clemson immediately became not worried about at all? The running game.
Nope.
They're like, you want to keep the clock running and keep it in the middle of the field and not have the chance for the explosives over the top? Cool.
Knock yourself out.
Love it. Yeah, exactly. Go nuts. The running game has been what's holding this team back, which is ironic because, let's call a spade. Grayson McCall and C.J. Bailey, whoever's been at quarterback, hasn't been lights out. But without a running game, it makes their job so much more difficult. And if you look at Dave Doran's history, what kind of game does he want to play? He wants to control the game. He wants to control the tempo. He wants to be able to run and play defense. You can't do that if you can't run the ball effectively time in and time again. That's been the struggle for this team the last few years. Sure, you can overcome it against teams that your defense can be the big bad bully on the block, but when your defense isn't the big bad bully on the block, you can't overcome it. The seasons that have been good, Tony Gibson has had great defenses. The running game helps the defense. The running game helps the quarterback. The running game helps everybody, and they're just not getting it done, and that's where it all starts. And that's are you treating the cause or are you treating the symptom? The symptom is your young quarterback, can't trust him. The symptom is our defense is on the field too much. The symptom is Casey Concepcion is getting too much attention and we can't get him open down the field. Those are symptoms. The cause is you can't run the football. That's what the cause is. You solve that. Whether it's Jordan Waters running the ball, whether it's Hollywood Smothers, Kendrick Raphael, a traditional running back, whether it's bringing Justin Jolie into the backfield, whether it's letting C.J. Bailey run, Casey Concepcion, Paylor, whoever it is, if you don't run the ball, defenses don't have to creep up towards the line of scrimmage. You're not going to beat them over the top. It's football. It's football. There's a reason why every coach, it almost becomes cliche so much that we make fun of it. But there's a reason why every coach is we got to start up front. Starts with the big fellas up front. Got to open holes. Got to run through them. Everything builds off of that.
Got to run the ball. Got to stop the run.
Got to run the ball. Got to stop the run. Got to win this one in the trenches. All about controlling the tempo. Got to keep our defense off the field. Got to let our offense tire them out. Body blows. It's cliche because it's fact. State has all the bells and whistles. Because if they start running the ball effectively and safeties creep down, they have 100 ways to take advantage of that. Once you start running the ball and the linebackers start biting on play action, they have 100 ways to take advantage of that. But those 100 ways do nothing if you don't make the defense play honest. Balance. It's important. Against Tennessee, 1.4 yards per carry. Now, Tennessee has a very good defense. I don't care who you are. 1.4. Against Northern Illinois, 2.3 yards per carry. That's against a group of 5 team. I don't care how much respect you want to give a group of 5 team. They're really good. They beat Notre Dame. 2.3 yards per carry. It's not going to get it done. Dave Doran was asked in his media availability this week if the message has changed at all for his freshman quarterback, C.J. Bailey, now going into his third start.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things when you're breaking in a new quarterback that are unique. But the message is always the same. We want to end every drive with a kick, not turn the ball over, which we did a great job of last week. We want to win the line of scrimmage, which, means minimal tackles for loss and no sacks. And we want to make explosive plays, and we did not make explosive plays a week ago, and that is why we were off the field so many times. So the message doesn't change. The execution of what we're doing has to improve, and obviously looking at play selection and things like that, that's on the coaches. What can we do to help with that, with formations, with personnel, with motions.
Explosive plays. How do you help yourself with explosive plays? You bring the defense closer to the line of scrimmage. If you want to get behind the defense, do you want to start where they have a 10-yard head start or where they have a 5-yard head start? Right, because you're going to be at the line of scrimmage. They're going to be somewhere on the other side of the ball. If your safeties are inside 10 yards, that's when you can run by them. If you're going to let safeties sit 20 yards deep, it's going to be very difficult to get an explosive play. You're going to have to nickel and dime your way down the field. Now, the question is, and this is what we're all coming back to, how do you get those safeties to creep up? How do you get those linebackers to creep up? Because the closer to the line of scrimmage they are, the easier they are to blow by. The easier they are to get explosives. How do you bring them up? You run the ball effectively. Lack of explosive plays is a problem, but it's a symptom. The root cause, not being able to run the football. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. And if you want to go, the running game should be providing explosives. That's fine. That's an effective running game. So if you want to run for 60-yard touchdowns on the ground, that's fine. You don't need that, though. You need first downs on the ground. Then you can get your explosives through the air if that's the way your offense is designed. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Again, today coming up at 4:33, we will have our first touchdown scorer game for the Panthers. So start thinking about who you think will score the first touchdown of the game for the Panthers and in what quarter you think they're going to do that. That's all at 4:33. When we come back after this break, we look at the Panthers' edge rushers or wannabe edge rushers. Stick around.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
Any win early in the season for the Jets is consequential. Think about what a hot mess they were last year. This is them proving to themselves that they can get it together, that they can be a functional franchise, that they can be a functional offense and have a functional quarterback. We have not seen this from the New York Jets in a long time.
Unsportsmanlike.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Hey, sports fans, if you like college football and you love the excitement of going for a big score with parlay wagering, then this offer from BetMGM really has legs. I'm Victoria Vodenecker here for BetMGM, and they're introducing the College Football No Sweat Parlay Token. Apply this token to any qualifying college football parlay wager, and if you don't win, you'll get your stake back in bonus bets. All you have to do is log into your existing BetMGM account to receive your token. Then add a qualifying college football parlay wager to your bet slip and attach the token. You'll get your stake back in bonus bets if your parlay isn't a winner, so go deep without even breaking a sweat. Make your favorite picks from dozens of betting options and watch the games knowing you are part of the action. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only, North Carolina only. Existing customer offer subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Imagine your team always looking and feeling their best in high-performance technical workwear. Cintas can make it happen. They have garments for almost every job imaginable. And with the Cintas Workwear program, you get freshly laundered garments delivered every week for everyone on your team. Great garments without the bother of laundry. That's a real perk for employees. Find out how Cintas can boost team image and morale. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
If you're a State Farm customer affected by the recent hurricane and need to submit a claim, go to statefarm.com, call 1-800-SF-CLAIM, download the State Farm mobile app, or contact your local State Farm agent. With one of the industry's largest catastrophe response teams, State Farm and your agent are ready to help. Go to statefarm.com to start your claim. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
The holidays are coming, and Lowe's is here to help you get ready. Right now, get up to 40% off select home decor to put the finishing touches on every room. The savings don't stop there. Get up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, save an additional $75 on select cooking appliances, $899 or more. Because Lowe's knows holiday hosting. Valid through 10/16 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. Appliance savings vary based on purchase amount. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com for details.
With all these new winners at the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club, we need to decide who's in charge.
We need a top prize winner.
We need someone who's good with words, like us crossword winners.
If elected leader, I will extend the hours during which all winners can use the diamond-encrusted hot tub.
Nice.
New scratch-offs mean new winners. This month's tickets are packed with $370 million in total prizes. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.04 to 4.31. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Here's the snap. Chuba up the middle. Crashing. No signal, and now they signal. Touchdown, Carolina. A point after from tying it up. Chuba Hubbard from a couple yards out.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Jadeveon Clowney was one of the big-name acquisitions for the Panthers this past weekend, so I figure we'll start with this question. Is he doing enough? Is he doing enough? Now, this is, maybe intentionally a little bit of a vague question because what's enough? Is enough Pro Bowl? Is enough 10 sacks? What's enough for Jadeveon Clowney? That's a good question. I don't think he's doing enough by just about any measurement. However, I'm not sure he's the one to blame. Think about that. Well, I'll bring it home. Don't worry. So I was listening to a podcast recently, and it had Chris Long on it. It was the Reiner Silla pod. Chris Long, many of you remember, Super Bowl champion with the Patriots, Super Bowl champion with the Eagles, second overall pick with the Rams prior to that, edge rusher, son of Howie Long. And they were doing this podcast in Philly. And somehow they got talking about Bryce Huff. Bryce Huff is an edge rusher for the Eagles that they brought in this offseason and paid a decent amount of money. And he's not playing well. We'll just put it that way. He's not doing enough for Philly. And Philly's struggling. And the fans at this pod kind of got on Bryce Huff a little bit. And Chris Long fought back with his argument being Bryce Huff's working as hard as he possibly can. Bryce Huff is doing everything that his body allows, his talent allows. He's out there doing everything he can to make plays. It's not his fault that he's not being effective. It's the people who thought he would be effective. It's their fault. And I think that kind of struck me as Jadeveon Clowney. Jadeveon Clowney was brought in for the Carolina Panthers in order for Clowney to be their number one edge rusher. The guy who beats single blocks. The guy who beats double teams. The guy who draws the double team so everyone else's job gets easier. And is it his fault if he's not that guy and has never been that guy? Right? I don't even know if this is actually attributed to Einstein, but there's a quote that goes viral every now and then that I always see. They say Einstein said it, but internet lies. And it's basically like if you judge a fish by its ability to climb trees, you're going to think the fish is stupid. When in actuality, it might be the fastest swimmer in the world, right? Might have so many other good things, but if you're judging it by the wrong criteria, then you're going to think it's dumb. Maybe with again, I forget the exact quote, maybe with something like, hey, Einstein failed English or something like that. Then it's like, but he's a math genius, so you're judging him by the wrong thing. Jadeveon Clowney as a number one edge rusher, that's not him. We talked about this preseason. You can go find the clip on our YouTube. His best seasons came when either J.J. Watt, Myles Garrett, or Nnamdi Madubuike were leading the pass rush on the other side. Right? His biggest sack seasons, when he's gotten to the quarterback the most and gotten him on the ground the most, he's been the second guy on his team in sacks. He has never had a super productive season where he was the number one sack guy. Number one sack artist, they call him. There was one year where he was decent, and J.J. Watt was there for the first 6 games of the year, then got hurt. And sure enough, a whole bunch of Jadeveon Clowney's production came in those first 5 or 6 games when J.J. Watt was there. We did that in the preseason. So now look at what's happened since. Jadeveon Clowney has this year, through 4 games, 1 sack, 3 quarterback hurries, 1 quarterback knockdown. Now, there's a stat called pressures that just combines all of that. It's just sacks, hurries, knockdowns combined equals 5 pressures in 4 games. Also known as, and I did all this math ahead of time, so you can trust it, 1.25 pressures per game. Last season, which is the season that the Panthers should have been judging him off of, he had 9 sacks, 4 hurries, 9 knockdowns. That equals 23 pressures. He played 17 games. Again, math, roughly 1.35 pressures per game. 1.25 versus 1.35. Is it a little less? Yeah, but it's literally 1 pressure every 10 games. That's the difference. Now, you'd like to, having 3 hurries and only 1 sack. Would you rather that be 3 sacks and 1 hurry? Yeah, but a lot of that is decided upon by things outside of his control. Do you get home or not? Could be, did the defensive back make the wide receiver hesitate at the line of scrimmage? Like the pressures, the hurries, the knockdowns, all of those, if you're getting a bunch of them, you're doing your job. The year before last season, Jadeveon Clowney, 12 pressures in 12 games. That's 1 pressure per game. He's basically doing what he's been doing the last 2 or 3 years with better defenses around him 2 or 3 years, like the past. He was with the Ravens. He was with the Browns, playing with Myles Garrett. There's better production around him in the past, and he's doing the same thing with the Panthers. The only issue is the Panthers expected him to be better than this. He's doing what you should expect him to do. It's just the Panthers brought him in with the hope and the wish that he was going to be significantly better than he's been in the past, but they've put him in a worse situation. Now, could you blame, the double teams would have been going to Derek Brown? Okay. Could you say, they planned on having DJ Wanham on the other side, and both of those guys either have been hurt or got hurt this year and are done already? Sure. But that's a pretty specific deal there. Hey, we brought in Jadeveon Clowney because he's definitely good enough to take advantage of rushing the passer when Derek Brown is there, but he is obviously going to revert back to what we've seen if and when Derek Brown gets hurt. That's a little much for me. It goes back to everything we've been talking about with the Panthers, which is it's not a one-year rebuild. We watched the edge rushers. And actually, you know what? This is the only position where we name them after what they do. Imagine if cornerbacks were called cover the wide receiver guys. What if the wide receivers are open? Then what are you? What do we call the edge rushers that get no pressure?
We call them you're just there.
The outside defensive linemen. We don't call offensive linemen block them alls. But either way. Word observations be darned. This is not a one-year rebuild. Because you watch this team, I think they could be exponentially better if they had better edge rushers. And it's easy to look at Jadeveon Clowney and say, man, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, you're holding us back. It's easy to look at DJ Johnson and say, you're holding us back. But then actually, Dennis pointed something out to me this morning when we were talking about this. He goes, well, they're kind of paying Jadeveon Clowney like a number 2. He's making $10 million. A number 1 edge rusher is in the $20 millions per year. They're paying Jadeveon Clowney $10 million. And therein lies the problem. The problem is they had 17 problems this offseason and enough money to fill 8 of them. So they had to, in some ways, divide up the money and try to half-heartedly solve a job, put a Band-Aid on it, and hopefully they can solve it next offseason. That's what's going on here. Is their edge rush good enough? No. Do they have a number 1 edge rusher? No. It's exactly what happened last year with wide receivers. They got 6 number 3 wide receivers and no number 1 wide receiver. Right now they have 3 or 4 rotational edge rushers. They have a number 2 edge rusher, and they have no number 1 edge rusher. In this case, if you're using that analogy, last year's wide receivers to this year's edge rushers, Jadeveon Clowney is Adam Thielen. He's a veteran. He's solid. He's going to do his job. He'll be good against the run. He's not going to scare the opponent at all.
No.
And if you're expecting him to scare the opponent, is that his fault or is that your fault? Or are you asking a fish to climb a tree and going, gosh, I'm terrible at climbing trees? Fish is going, that's not, I got flippers, man. What do you want me to do here? Jadeveon Clowney's looking at this defense going, you want me to beat the double team? No, I'm the guy that takes advantage of the other guy that attracts the double team. That's what I do. I got flippers over here, man. Jadeveon Clowney, real quickly here, speaking to the media, talked about facing Caleb Williams, which is obviously a former number 1 overall pick. Talking about another number 1 overall pick. Here's Jadeveon.
I feel like as a D-line, it's a set for us to get to him as that. That's the only thing I'm thinking is about get to him and try to make him calls. If you watch the games, if you get to him, get pressure on him, he do throw the ball all over the field, just throw it up for grabs. So hopefully we can put some pressure on him to give us throw us a few turnovers.
Put some pressure on him, so he'll throw us one. That is how it works. Do you know how many pressures I'd expect Jadeveon Clowney to get?
1.25?
About 1.25. About 1.35, somewhere in there. 1 or 2. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's jump into the college football when we come back. UNC versus Pitt. Same old story, different week for the Tar Heels. Stick around.
Move your sports day forward.
No matter how the rest of the year goes for the Carolina Panthers, the great Red Hope, Andy Dalton, hands you something to believe in early in a season rather than at the end. And he may have given himself something even more to smile about. For at his 5th stop in his career, a true second act as a starting quarterback.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
99.9 The Fan and Coastal Credit Union are proud to announce the return of the Coastal Credit Union Scholar Athlete of the Month. For more than 20 years, we have honored over 200 student athletes that are making a difference on their team and in their community. If you are a teacher, parent, coach, or guardian, nominate your Scholar Athlete today. We will select one winner a month to be featured on 99.9 The Fan and on WRAL News Plus. To nominate a winner, text AWARD to 919-860-5326. That's AWARD to 919-860-5326.
Congrats to last year's winners. Emma Penkunis of Holly Springs High School, Connor O'Toole of Athens Drive, Kinsey Smith of Fuquay Varina, Patience Ifadon of South Garner High, Carrie Ellen Bryan of Southern Lee, Carson Parker, Apex Friendship, Jason Howard of Wakefield High School, and Eric Stoll of Green Level. We also want to thank all of our other local schools who nominated a student. Apex Friendship, Jordan Matthews, Northwood, Green Hope High, Willow Springs, Jacksonville High, South Granville, Cleveland High, Riverside, and South Johnston.
This is Creighton Blackwell with Coastal Credit Union, and I would like to offer my sincerest thanks to every school that nominated a student for this year's award. This award is more than a celebration of exceptional athletes. It's also a celebration of the schools and the communities that helped them grow into the incredible leaders that we like to celebrate.
Congratulations to all of our Coastal Credit Union Scholar Athletes of the Month. If you want to nominate a high school athlete, text AWARD to 919-860-5326.
It's Tim Donnelly for Window Nation. Right now, buy 2 windows and get 2 free. Plus, pay nothing for 24 months. Hurry, sale ends October 31st, so schedule an in-home estimate at 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com.
Martha was ready to switch to a career in IT.
There's always a need for IT specialists, especially with AI coming out and cybersecurity. It's practically recession-proof.
She heard an ad for My Computer Career and jumped in feet first.
Taking exams and getting certified in a matter of just months.
Even better, you can work from anywhere.
Wherever you are. If you're on vacation, you can still clock in. I work out of my house in my pajamas.
My Computer Career even provides job placement help.
The career specialists, they're very helpful. They care about you as a person You're not just a number to them.
Launch a new high-demand career in IT or level up with more certifications. Build a career in record time with less money.
I would recommend my computer career wholeheartedly to anyone. Indeed, it was the right move for me.
Take the free career evaluation today. Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $200 in bonus bets when they bet $5. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bet. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. Terms and conditions apply.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we talk about UNC versus Pitt, where UNC tries to knock off undefeated Pitt Panthers at home tomorrow at noon, we have a pair of tickets, I believe, to this game. We have a pair of tickets to UNC versus Pitt, which we are going to give away.
Right now.
The beauty of being at a radio station is every once in a while, a Friday night before the game, it's just, hey, we got tickets to give away. So if you want to go with a friend, with a family member, somebody, we'll give you a pair of tickets to the Tar Heels hosting the Pitt Panthers tomorrow. Call in right now. We'll take caller number, are we looking at 9? Caller number 9 to 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326. Call in right now. Caller number 9 gets to win a pair of tickets to see the game tomorrow. That's just a little thank you from us to you for listening to the show. Again, that phone number, 919-860-5326. Call in now. You might be going to the game tomorrow.
Hey, should be a beautiful day, too.
Should be a beautiful day. Should be an exciting game.
Noon kickoff?
Noon kickoff. Keenan, home game for the Tar Heels. And the reason why I say it should be exciting, should be entertaining, is because it does appear like UNC only plays wildly crazy entertaining games. That's not necessarily good for UNC, but it does make for interesting viewing. UNC is still doing something, broken record style here, that I've been saying for the last 3 weeks UNC is craving. Normalcy. I know it's more complicated than that, and we can have the nitty-gritty conversations about, how can they lighten Omarion Hampton's workload so they feel more comfortable giving him the ball in the fourth quarter? How can they make Jacoby Criswell's job a little bit easier? How can the defense get after the quarterback better? We could do that. I understand it's more complicated, but it's also kind of simple. You can't be successful as a football team with every game being chaos. It's funny. Earlier this week, Dennis said they actually had their most normal game last week, which is crazy because if you go look at it, they were ahead 20-0 halfway through the third quarter, essentially. And Duke came back to win 21-20. How is that the most normal game you've had? And it is the most normal game because there wasn't quarterback switching. There weren't major injuries. There weren't crazy weather. There wasn't any crazy weather. There wasn't any coaching controversies after the game. It was their most normal. It just was wildly chaotic. Athletes thrive on routine. Now, most of that isn't like within the game, right? It's not like, hey, every day we come out on first down, we throw the ball, on second down we run the ball, third down. No, it's not that kind of routine. Usually it's practice schedules and getting yourself ready and pregame rituals, and it's all routine. But they also thrive on kind of order of operations. There's a standard operating procedure for the game. When the defense does this, we do that. When they go this way, we have a plan to go that way. That's what making a read is, right? If they play man, we have a man beater. If they play zone, we have an answer for that. If they blitz, here's what we do. Hot route. Right? That's what football is. UNC, the way they're playing games, can't have a plan for everything because it's too much. You'd have to be sitting there giving a million what-ifs. Okay, well, what if we change quarterbacks halfway through the second quarter? What if Omarion Hampton gets 30 carries before the fourth quarter? What if we start giving up 70 points to a group of 5 team? You don't have a plan for that. No coach in their right mind has all right, everybody turn to their playbook, the portion of the playbook where our offense has to score 75 to win a game. It doesn't exist. Nobody has a portion of your playbook. All right, everybody turn to the part of the playbook where you're up 20-0 and the other team starts running it down your throats, which is exactly what happened last week in the Duke game. You can't have a plan for everything, which is why you need a little normalcy. You need things you can lean on. You need to be able to funnel the game towards something you know how to work with. When they do this, we do that. We have answers for it. It's very similar, like I said, to a quarterback trying to read the defense. The times when quarterbacks get really, really, really in trouble are when they're seeing something they haven't seen before. It's why, the Bradys and the Breezes and the Andy Daltons and the Joe Flaccos, they're so good mentally when they get into the game darn near 40 years old. It's because they've seen everything. There's nothing you can show them they haven't seen before. Well, I'll tell you what, I don't care if you're Tom Brady and you played until you were 48 years old and you started 900 million games. If he was on UNC, he'd be coming to the sideline like, never played a game like this before, every single week. Omari, think of it like this. Omarion Hampton's going to be a part of their game plan. It's really the only steady, consistent thing that's been their game in and game out for them, outside of the second half against Charlotte when he was hurt. Omarion Hampton. All right, they sell out to stop him. They stack the box. We throw play action to a tight end. Boom. Now they have to sag off a little bit, back to Omarion Hampton. That's how it works. We do this. They do that to stop it. We do this to beat that. We go right back to what we were doing, and you build an offense around it. It's like having – I feel like this is high school basketball more than like pro, but there's a lot of high school basketball teams that have like a random 5'7" guy who's just a shooter. He's like, I know I'm not going to be blocking shots. I know I'm not going to be, running the pick and roll, but I can shoot. And guess what? That guy sits on the bench – cheering on his teammates, big high five guy, until the opposing team goes to his zone. Soon as they go to his zone, coach doesn't even have to tell him. He's already walking to the check-in table. Like, coach, I got this. Boom, I'd like to go in. They pack in the zone, catch, fire. Good. Catch, fire. Good. Hits 2 or 3 threes. Other team gets out of zone. He's like, thank you very much. I'm going back to the bench.
Yep. I know my role.
And then if they go, that's how it is, right? They do this, we do that. It's predictable. Hey, if we're beating their man, guess what they're probably going to do? They're probably going to play zone. Then we're going to put in our shooter. He's going to hit 2 or 3. Then they're going to go back to man, and we're going to take him out. It's order of operations. UNC can't possibly have any of that right now. At the beginning of the year, it was one thing. Then with Connor Harrell at quarterback, it was another. Now with Jacoby Criswell, it's another. They're settling into Jacoby Criswell. And as that's going on, they're having chaos off the field with coaching comments. They're having injuries happen. They're having so much going on. And by the way, Pitt is good. We haven't talked about Pitt. They're undefeated. They're undefeated. And it's not like they've played the easiest schedule, not like they've played the hardest schedule, but undefeated coming on the road for a conference game, they're going to have a lot of confidence. They're going to have something for you. You have to be able to react to that. Mac Brown, who spoke to the media, said it's all about focusing on themselves.
Every game's important. We talk to our players about, and we have to do this in life, you need to be where your feet are. You better worry about today. We don't even know if we've got them. We can be gone tomorrow. So we're about today. We're about getting better. We're about what you fix. And don't worry about what happens if somebody doesn't like something that you did. I mean, if we had beaten Duke, the ones that are mad would have still been mad over JMU. So you can't worry about all that. If you start, you better worry about yourself. And I'm responsible for a lot of people. I got to worry about them. I sure can't get overloaded enough to start worrying about everybody else.
Do you really think that squeaking out a win over Duke would make everybody forget about 70 points allowed against James Madison? I don't know about you, but I would have expected that anger to last a little bit. If we would have beaten Duke, everyone would have still been mad about James Madison. That James Madison anger is going to last. You'd have to beat Duke by you'd have to score 70 to make them forget about 70.
Yeah, if you flipped it around and just be like, all right, well, we just put up 70. Okay.
Yeah, you'd have to I don't know. That's the James Madison one's not going anywhere. The Duke loss isn't going anywhere. There's no way they can. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's look at that team that beat them last week. How about the Duke Blue Devils going to Georgia Tech? This game is why you brought in Malik Murphy. Duke is 5-0. Georgia Tech is 3-2. They're 1-2 in the conference. Georgia Tech is favored by 8.5 last I checked. First of all, Duke should be furious about that, right? Hey, you've lost twice. We've lost none. You lost to Syracuse and Louisville, which are good teams. Don't get me wrong. But a loss is a loss. A win is a win. I'd be mad if I were Duke. I think both teams are actually coming in. It's an 8.5 spread, which is not small. But I think both teams are coming into this with a similar game plan. They're both comfortable shortening the game. They're both comfortable kind of going into the final minutes expecting their team to make the one or two plays they need to win the contest. I was actually like workshopping this as a question. So let me, think about your answers to yourself. Going into this game, Duke versus Georgia Tech on the road at Georgia Tech. If I need to come up with a person for this, the football czar, if the football wizard met them at the 50-yard line before the game and said, coaches, come on up. We can play this game as usual. We can start with the opening kickoff. We can go first quarter, second quarter. You guys can have a nice halftime. Come back out, play the second half. We can play this game normal. Or if you both agree to it right now, we can start it with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, tie ball game. How do you feel about that? I think there's a decent chance both coach would go, yeah, I'll take a tie game with 6 minutes left. Let's do it. Because you look at Georgia Tech, they trust Haynes King. Haynes King, their quarterback, he's got a little bit of that moxie. Right? You trust your running game. You trust your defense. You get in trouble when you find yourself behind a bunch. You get in trouble when the other team starts cooking a little bit. So if you guarantee we're tied with 6 minutes left, it turns it into the game that they're trying to play. I think Duke is doing a similar thing, especially since Star Thomas and the running game have gotten going. They find a way to be around the win with like 5 minutes left. And then they've just out-executed teams down the stretch. I mean, they were down 20 with 8 minutes to go in the third, found a way to be in it at the end of the fourth quarter, found a way to execute one play better than their opponent. That's kind of what both of these teams' end goal is. If I'm an 8.5-point underdog, sounds good to me. Especially when you have faith in your quarterback like Georgia Tech has faith in theirs. Malik Murphy, specifically Malik Murphy to Jordan Moore, has been there when they need it. Right? It's both are true when coaches, like if there's a big play at the end of the game, a fumble or something, and the coach is trying not to make that player feel bad, and they go, oh, there's any one of 100 plays that could have decided that game. It's like, yeah, but only one of them happened with, 45 seconds on the clock and you driving to get the win. That one had a little bit more importance. I think Duke wants the ball in Malik Murphy's hand with a minute to go and the game on the line. And they feel more often than not, they're going to come away with the win. I think this game could be, first of all, short. I'm talking like keep the clock running, run the ball.
This might be 4 possessions per half for each team.
And
as opposed to like 6.
And I think it'll be one of those games where it's not really more than a possession in either direction the entire game.
This has like 21-17 written all over it.
21-17, and the way you get there is like
12-yard drives.
7-3, 7-10,
yeah.
14-10. Like it's not like the UNC Duke game where UNC jumps out to a lead and then you got to come back, or vice versa. Do we have the clip from yesterday? Manny Diaz. Just Manny being Manny. Manny Diaz, head coach of Duke, about moving on from the UNC game, obviously, as they look towards Georgia Tech.
It's always going to be something that's there, so what you do is you watch all the signs. I think there's just a physical toll. They had a bye last week. This is our 6th game in 6 weeks. But what we've talked to our players about is that, the standard's a standard, and we didn't set out to go 5-0. We didn't set out to just beat North Carolina. We have much bigger goals, and the standard doesn't really care what happened last week. And really what we drew the connection is being 5-0 is the same thing as being down 20-0. It's only a reflection of what's happened in the past. It does not have anything to do with what happens next. And that's a mistake that everybody makes, just like everybody who might have thought the game was over when it was 20-0. Or players who assume that we're in a place of comfort because we're 5-0. When the ball, hits the foot on Saturday night, we don't get 1st and 5 because we've won our first 5 games. It's going to be 1st down and 10, and so we have to go back to what wins a football game and start the process all over again.
Leaving the UNC game in the past is one thing. I'd also say this: I like a road game following a emotional victory. Road games always do come with a little bit of like us against the world, the traveling. Coaches usually make some over-the-top metaphor about like we're going into enemy territory and all this sort of stuff. When we used to play at James Madison, there were 2 ways into the stadium. One was like right down Main Street. It was like you're just going right up to the front doors. Another one, they called it the back way. You'd go through like woods and you just kind of pop out at the stadium. We would drive out of our way to go in the back way because Coach wanted us to feel like we were going on like a raid where it's like we're sneaking up on the enemy. Maybe that helps. I know that Georgia Tech's crowd isn't always the craziest. We talked about that yesterday. But a road game, as far as like being in a hotel, being away, being in a different city, can tighten your group a little bit. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We're going to have to address this, so we might as well do it now. And those of you that listened to the show yesterday, we started something called the Ladder Challenge. LADDER Challenge. It is a gambling trend that I found on TikTok. There's no way I can talk about TikTok without sounding 1,000 years old. So we're just going to...
That's okay.
We're just going to plow through it. So the Ladder Challenge is simple. You bet an amount of money, say $10, on a bet that is extremely likely to win, meaning minus 500, minus 1,000, something like that. And you win a minimal amount of money because it's a bet that's likely to win. So you bet $10, you might win $11.50. Meaning the $10 you bet you get back plus like $1.50 or $2. And then the challenge that I found on TikTok, which is a social media for those of you that don't know, was you try to do that for a certain consecutive amount of days. So like you bet $10, you get back 12 if you get it right. The next day you bet 12, you get back 1440 or whatever it is, and you keep doing that and keep rolling over the winnings. And if you get it right for a certain amount of days, you have a fat stack of cash to do whatever you please with. So I was like, all right, this is a online thing. Let's give it a roll. Let's try. Yesterday, day 1, we found a bet. It was the Falcons to score less than 30.5 points.
Yeah.
That had hit in every single Falcons game. They had yet to score 30 in a game. And the opponent of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had hit in every single game. The defense for Tampa had yet to allow more than 30 points this year. So we're like, all right, we got one. Let's put it in. We made the bet and lost day 1.
Okay, well, here's the thing. I want to make sure we throw this out there. I'm going to say we were right.
Okay.
Because in 60 minutes of football,
True.
The Falcons were below 30.5 points.
We got overtimed. We
got overtimed. We got OT'd.
We lost by a coin flip because the Falcons won the coin toss, asked for the ball, scored without ever giving the ball back to Tampa. And Tampa's offense was looking good at times, so you think if they won the coin toss, they would have asked for the ball. They could have gone down and scored a touchdown, and then the game would have been over, and the Falcons would have been a winner.
So this is where I say this is where I say, when it comes to football betting, they should put
regulation
time.
What if
overtime
what if you pick
excluded?
a team on the money line? Draw, no bet?
Yeah, I'm fine with that too.
Maybe. I think you might be able to like buy insurance and stuff like that, but we're not doing that.
Yeah. We got OT'd yesterday.
We also got Kirk Cousins.
Well,
Kirk Cousins,
yeah.
through the first 4 weeks of the year, had thrown 4 touchdown passes.
Yep.
Last night, he threw 4 touchdown passes.
There's that.
So now we're just yelling about a bad beat. But what I'm actually doing is I'm calling it a breakfast ball.
Okay.
Anyone that's ever played golf, you have a bad drive off the first tee, start over. Breakfast ball.
Yeah.
Right? Re-tee it, play it again. If your score hits, it counts because it's not, you just started over, right? You played the full 19 consecutively. So today, for the ladder challenge, day number 1, I have 4 bets in front of me. Dennis, I will let you pick.
Right.
I'll explain little bits of why I have these as the options, why I like them.
Okay.
There's a London game. It is Jets versus Minnesota.
Okay.
I have Aaron Rodgers, 175-plus passing yards. To get more than 175, he has hit that over in 3 consecutive games, and the Minnesota defense has allowed the opposing team's quarterback to throw for at least 175 in every game. In their 2 most recent, they've thrown for over 300.
Okay.
So almost 400 for Jordan Love this past week. And it's in London. Things get crazy. A lot of passing yards. Another option, CeeDee Lamb, 50-plus receiving yards versus Pitt. All of these bets are minus 500.
CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver for the Cowboys.
Yes, playing Pittsburgh. Lamb has had at least 50. He's actually had at least 61 receiving yards in every game. And Pittsburgh, as of late, has been struggling with number 1 wide receivers a bit more. Pittman ate him up in their last game.
That's because of Joe Flacco.
You're darn right it's because of Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco.
Although I think he would have also hit the over 50 just from Anthony Richardson. I think he would have hit over 50 from each of them.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Chuba Hubbard, this is my next bet. Chuba Hubbard, running back for the Panthers. 40-plus rushing yards versus Chicago is minus 500. So he has to get at least 40.
He's been 100-plus the last 2.
14 in week 1, 64 in week 2.
Okay.
Then against the Raiders, 114. Against Cincy, 104. Chicago's defense has been up and down against number 1 running backs. Tony Pollard, week 1, gave him 82. Mixon would not have passed with 25 in week 2. Jonathan Taylor over 100. Kyron Williams, 94. So that's looking good. And then the last one is just the Carolina Panthers plus 14.5 at Chicago. Panthers are plus 4 on the spread if you're looking for just like the traditional spread. We can alternate that spread. We can continue giving points to the Panthers all the way to plus 14.5. So they could lose by as many as 2 touchdowns, and we would still have a winner there. Those are the 4 options. That's my job when it comes to our ladder challenge. I present a nice little multiple choice here for Dennis. He chooses the bet he likes the most. We plug it in.
All right, intriguing options here. I was thinking about the Aaron Rodgers one. Their offensive line is not that great.
True.
They're middle of the pack in terms of pass protection, in terms of sacks allowed and sack percentage. So the middle of the pack, and then also Minnesota is actually top 10 in sack percentage. Minnesota's been ahead in games.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, other teams have been throwing the ball, which I think
Good point.
might be the case this coming Sunday. But the Jets also have a great defense, and it's weird because you're overseas in London. Those games get weird.
What's the conversion rate on yards?
We're going to meters on this one. We got to make sure that's not 175 meters because that changes everything. So I kind of want to stay away from the London game.
Okay. We learned on
because of
Thursday
that
night
reason.
that things get crazy in weird games.
Things get weird in those situations. CeeDee Lamb going against Pittsburgh. Who knows what Dallas is going to look like, in all honesty.
Brandon
Pittsburgh
Cooks
defense is really
Cooks
good.
is hurt. So
Brandon Cooks is hurt.
So a lot of attention, both defensively and offensively, will go towards CeeDee.
Okay, so I kind of want to stay away from that one on Sunday Night Football. So
Okay.
I want to get to Panthers game.
All right.
I think the one I'm going to go with, Chuba Hubbard over 40.5 yards rushing for a couple reasons. One, Panthers 4.4 yards per carry this season when running the football. That's in the top half of the league, actually in like 12th in the league.
All right.
The Bears defensively give up 4.5 yards per carry, which is in the bottom third of the league at 4.5 yards per carry. Give me Chuba Hubbard. Give me what was helping this offense cook right now. Give me Chuba Hubbard. The guy, in my opinion, is probably going to have at least 18 carries in this game, and he only needs to get 3 yards a carry.
There you go.
That's it.
Day one, ladder challenge here on the Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. We have decided
Not even 3 yards of carry.
Chuba Hubbard, 40-plus rushing yards against Chicago. At Chicago, he's coming off 200-yard games. We like the chances for it to hit. We will roll over the winnings on Monday. I'm not even saying hopefully this time. I'm saying we're going to roll over the winnings on Monday and place another minus 500 bet. But for today, it is Chuba Hubbard, 40-plus rushing yards versus Chicago. Lock it in.
If he carries the ball 18 times, he needs 2.3 yards to carry to get 41 yards. That's it.
The goal we are aiming for is to have 23 consecutive winners. If that happens, we'll have a little over $550. And we'll find something cool to do with the money. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Our warm-up is over. Yesterday was a rehearsal. We learned our lessons. Watch the tape. Chuba Hubbard, 40-plus. It's going to hit. We have football at 4 coming up next. We have first touchdown score predictions at 4:33. It is a Football Friday here on The Drive. Stick around.
We're kicking it this fall with college football. Join 99.9 The Fan all season long and catch your favorite teams in action. The ACC, the SEC, and every conference that matters. You'll find the best matchups here.
The Blue Devils up 21-20, and they got their arms reaching for that bell.
College football on 99.9 The Fan is brought to you by Wake Med, Sammy's Tap and Grill, and Roofworks.
If you're a State Farm customer affected by the recent hurricane and need to submit a claim, go to statefarm.com, call 1-800-SF-CLAIM, download the State Farm mobile app, or contact your local State Farm agent. With one of the industry's largest catastrophe response teams, State Farm and your agent are ready to help. Go to statefarm.com to start your claim. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hard-working partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Our state's future begins with our students. That's why the North Carolina Education Lottery has contributed over $10 billion to education. Through scholarships, school construction, support staff, and pre-K programs, lottery dollars move our state forward, helping students become the best versions of themselves. Visit movingncstudentsforward.com and share how your student or school community has benefited for a chance to earn $2,000 for your story. Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline 877-718-5543.
With Wendy's, breakfast burrito is everything you want for breakfast. Fresh cracked eggs, seasoned potatoes, American cheese, cheese sauce, bacon or sausage, all rolled up into one warm tortilla. Want the boss of breakfast burritos? Gotta be Wendy's at participating U.S. Wendy's.
It's time to review the top 3 highlights of the day. I'm joined as always by my co-anchor Snoop.
Hey, what up, though?
Snoop, number 1 has to be getting the new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence at T-Mobile.
Yeah, you should hustle down to T-Mobile like a dog chasing a squirrel chasing a nut.
Nice analogy, Snoop. Dogs do love to chase squirrels.
And squirrels love to chase those nuts.
On to highlight number 2. At T-Mobile, families can save 20% every month versus the other big guys.
That is very impressive. You know, y'all can take some of those savings and buy some Snoop merchandise.
That's exactly what I'm planning on doing with my savings, Snoop. Now, take it away, Snoop.
Head to T-Mobile.com and get the new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on them. Now drop that jingle.
24 monthly bill credits. Eligible trade-in on Go 5G Next. Well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 connection charge. Cancel entire account before receiving 24 bill credits, and credit stop and balance on required finance agreement too. Bill credits end if you pay off device early. See how you can save versus the other big guys at T-Mobile.com/switch. Apple Intelligence coming fall 2024.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
For the first time this season, we are actually seeing what I believe the Panthers truly are. They weren't as bad as they were in week 1 and 2. They aren't as good as they were in week 3. They kind of are what they are in week 4. They're a team that is young. The defense is going to regress from last year, but with Andy Dalton, the offense shows a little sign of progress.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan. This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Raleigh's injury lawyers.
Bounces away into the end zone. Touchdown!
Visit GotBrian.com.
That's GotBrian.com. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Partly cloudy skies, becoming mostly cloudy as we head toward the evening. We'll see a high of 83. This evening, there could be a few isolated showers that roll through. We'll see a low of 64. And then over the weekend, it's quiet. A small chance of a shower on Saturday, just 20%. Highs in the mid-80s Saturday and low 80s on Sunday.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock, check if your money. Dow Jones is up 340 points to 42,352.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Football fans, not only is it a football 4, it's also a football Friday, which means first touchdown score. We're going to need your predictions at 4:33.
That's right.
Who will score the first touchdown for the Panthers, and in what quarter will they do it? 3 of you will have a chance to call in, make your choice on air, and if you get it right, you will get a prize pack. Everybody else, you can do it for bragging rights. You can let us know in the YouTube comments on YouTube Live right now. If you're watching our live stream, we'd like to hear from you. Who's going to score the first touchdown for Carolina, and in what quarter will they do it? And then you can also send it to us on Twitter, any other way. We monitor a whole bunch of ways. Right now, though, it's football at 4, so let's talk Panthers. This week has a new challenge for the Panthers. It's a good challenge, but it's a new challenge. Maintain. Last week, I want to say right here on Friday at this time, we were talking all about how the Panthers offense could build off of the Raiders game. How could they use the tape from the Raiders game to set up themselves for some success moving forward? Now it is about continuing. It's about maintaining as much as it is building. It's not just what can you add to the offense? How can you fix the offense? It's also how do you keep what you're doing well doing well? It's not just, hey, can we get Jonathan Mingo 5 catches? It's also, how do you make sure Deontay Johnson has 80-plus yards and a touchdown again? Right? It's not just, how can the offensive line open up holes, or how can the offensive line give Andy Dalton a chance? It's also, how do you get Chuba Hubbard to 100 yards again? How do you, even when teams have seen you be successful at something, continue to be successful at that very same something? Most of the great offenses are more about making sure you don't take things that they do well away than they are about surprising you with what they do well. How hilarious would it be if there was a, like, if I'm trying to think of one of the all-time great offenses, like the Greatest Show on Turf. If every week they were trying to say, like, I know we have Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce and Ricky Prohl and Marshall Faulk, but look at this new thing we added. Like, no. Instead, every week you showed up, and they were just trying to find ways to have what they did well last week be good this week. They want Torrey Holt, who had 100 last week, to have 100 this week. Isaac Bruce, who had 2 touchdowns last week, to have touchdowns this week. And I thought about this while watching actually that chaotic Thursday night football game last night. Double screens, right? I was doing the Major League Baseball playoff game. I was watching the Thursday night game, and one of those first touchdowns that the Bucs threw to Mike Evans down there on the goal line made no sense to me, because Mike Evans was right in the middle of the field, middle of the end zone, wide open. What he's what, 6'5", probably has like a 6'8" wingspan, right? Because all the good athletes have these giant wingspans. He could have spread his arms, done the helicopter, run in circles, and there was nobody around him.
It's like, how you let that guy open?
Exactly. And then what did they do? They immediately hit the replay, right? Amazon's got all this the technology. They hit the replay, they showed the bird's eye view, and the play design was awesome. They had some crossing routes, so defenders were running into each other. Their communication was messed up. They motioned away. Baker Mayfield even rolled away, looked like he was going to take a quick throw to the right, and then right over where the ball was snapped, Mike Evans, like a bear in the woods, hiding in the middle of the field. And I went, that's a great job by Tampa Bay. That's a fantastic. There was no one's like, oh my gosh, what a genius idea. They threw it to Mike Evans. The dude's had 1,000 yards every year for a decade. He's probably a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's in the top 25 in all-time touchdowns scored. Like amongst every position. We're not talking wide receivers. We're not talking this century. We're talking like all-time. They found a way to make him be successful. That's a little bit of what the Panthers have going on now. No one's going to be like, oh my gosh, they gave the ball 17 times to Chuba Hubbard. How did we not see that coming? They're now coming into the game with the expectations you're going to give the ball to Chuba Hubbard near 20 times. It's up to you to find a way for it to be as successful as it was last week, as successful as it was the week before. After the first 2 weeks, it was just get the running game going. Now it's keep the running game going. You have some momentum. I think you're at the easier part, but it's not easy. It's easier. But it's also like every big game you have, you're putting a target on your back as an individual. Right? Every time Deontay Johnson catches another touchdown, there, you hear another defensive coordinator later in the season, with a laser pointer in his hand in front of his defense saying, we can't let number 5 beat us. Can't let number 5 beat us. Make someone else make a play. And it's the Panthers' job to make number 5 beat them. Dave Canales talked about Chuba Hubbard, but not just Chuba Hubbard, Miles Sanders working together.
Yeah, it's super important, and, just even the way that we've been able to use Miles and Chuba in at the same time a couple of times, just like both guys, fantastic runners, and just some of the things that Miles can do as well when he's, spread out, or even in just like our gun split back stuff, it gives us multiplicity, and the more tight ends you get up, the harder it gets with the run fits, and you start to move one guy, all of a sudden the calls change, and we can get into our core concepts, and build off of that. So I'd love to see that to progress continually that way.
It's Miles Sanders, but it's Chuba. Let's be real. If Miles Sanders needs to spell Chuba, that's fine, meaning needs to give him a breather, but it's Chuba.
There were some times in the game on Sunday where both guys were on the field. Like Miles Sanders lined up in the slot, and there were some times where they use him in motion. And I think Sanders actually said after the game, he's like, or maybe this week, he's like, I kind of like when we're both on the field together. I mean, sure, obviously he wants to be on the field more, but I guess the way that they used him, it was like, you know what? I can actually be, as opposed to just a back deep in the backfield, I can spread around the offense a little bit more and do a little bit more things. Actually, I thought Sanders was a good complementary back to Chuba Hubbard this past Sunday.
You hit on it a little bit there. I think he probably just saw a guy run for 100 yards 2 consecutive games and realized, well, they're not going to take him off the field.
Yeah.
So let's say I like being on the field at the same time as him because that gets me on the field a little bit. But, I mean, that's what a number 2 back is for. It's whatever you need. I actually thought last night the Falcons should have more Algier and Bijan out there at the same time because obviously Bijan has some of that Miles Sanders skill set, or reverse, whichever one you want to say, where he can catch and he can run routes and all of that.
I think there was if I remember correctly, there was a 4th down that when one of the Panthers' touchdown drives, they picked up a 4th down and went for it around midfield. They had Chuba basically lined up as a fullback and Sanders deep in the backfield, and Chuba got the ball and got a first down.
And for all that I said about maintaining, if you can sneak in a little wild card like that, an unscouted look,
that's fine.
That helps a bunch as well. And it might help even more down in the red zone, which is a place where Chicago, at least statistically coming into the game, is going to have the advantage.
Thriving.
Panthers are 12th in red zone touchdown percentage offensively.
Yes.
So
around 60%.
They score when they get to the red zone, they score a touchdown 12th most often in the NFL. Chicago has the best NFL defense in the red zone. They prevent touchdowns at the highest rate. So, obviously still a small sample size, and it's early in the season, and the Panthers weren't getting to the red zone very often early in the season. But they do a pretty good job once they get there. Chicago does a great job when they're backed up on their own end zone. So, you'd like to be able to move guys off the ball. You'd like to be able to lean on Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis, who will be back in the starting lineup. The big offensive guards you gave a bunch of money to, and push them around. If you can't do that, that's where, Deontay Johnson may not win jump balls, but he does have the routes. I say this as a phrase. He can get open in a phone booth. He doesn't need a lot of space, which is good in the red zone. Him and Andy Dalton need to be on the same page as far as timing, because windows open and close much faster down there in the red zone. That just goes into what I'm saying here. The things you do well offensively are going to have more attention on them week in and week out from this point forward if you keep doing them well, and you just need to get better and better and better at your execution. You need to get better and better and better at being successful at those things so they can't be taken away. It's maybe the best example of this, and I should have used this earlier, is when Devontae Adams was with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
There were some years where he was catching like 12 passes, and there were multiple drives where I'm just like, defense, I think he might be throwing it to 17. He looks there first every single play. But he and Aaron Rodgers were just operating on such a high level with the back shoulders, with the throwing out of breaks, and Matt LaFleur was calling so many high-level plays that there was nothing you could do about it. You want to get to that point where there's nothing, we got our guys, they're good, and there's nothing you can do about it. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Again, 4:33, everybody. We do have the opportunity for you to win. Yeah, we'll win, but you got to earn it. You got to make a prediction. First touchdown scorer for the Panthers. Who's going to score the first touchdown, meaning possession of the ball, throwing touchdown? That counts for the receiver, not the quarterback. Who's going to score the first touchdown and in what quarter? We'll open up the phone lines at 4:33 for your predictions, and if somebody gets it right on air, they'll go ahead and get themselves a prize. There's a gift card to Audubell Car Wash involved. There's some station merch. It's a prize pack. It's got a whole bunch of stuff. That's coming up, as well as the Paw Print. 2 players to watch from myself. Dennis will give you his as well. It's coming up next right here on The Drive.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. For all the inside information on your team, join me and my co-host, WRAL TV's Chris Lee, for our podcast, Panthers Playbook, presented by Carolina Ford Dealers. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on your Panthers, and we'll do it with access only we can provide. Locker room insight, exclusive interviews, and in-depth looks at every Panthers game. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcasts or watch on YouTube.
I'm Kamala Harris, candidate for president, and I approve this message. So many of you have told me about your plans for the future. Starting a business, buying a home, retiring near your grandchildren. But prices are too high. So let me tell you what I will do about it as president. I will take on price gouging. I will lower the cost of healthcare insurance. We capped the cost of insulin at $35 a month for seniors. I'm running to do that for everyone. And I will provide new down payment assistance to first-time home buyers and tax benefits to people who want to start their own business. Donald Trump, well, he wants to give more tax breaks to the wealthy, whereas I will cut taxes for the middle class instead. Because I know working people want to do more than just get by. You want to get ahead, and that's the future you deserve. And that is what I will focus on every day as your president. Paid for by Harris for President.
With all these new winners at the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club, we need to decide who's in charge.
We need a top prize winner.
We need someone who's good with words, like us crossword winners.
If elected leader, I will extend the hours during which all winners can use the diamond-encrusted hot tub.
Nice.
New scratch-offs mean new winners. This month's tickets are packed with $370 million in total prizes. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.04 to 4.31. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I think my battery's dead. With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
So what if I need a new one?
We have the right Duralast battery for you, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
And what about my old battery? We can recycle it right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Hi, welcome to Staples. Hi, I hear Staples can print everything for my business. Sure can. And the quality is guaranteed? Absolutely. Plus, you'll beat any price quote. Is that right? For sure. How about this one? We'll beat it. Can you print menus, signs, and flyers? Sure can. How about blueprints? No problem. What about red prints? Not a real thing. What if they were? We'd print them. And they'd look amazing.
Now at Staples, print more, save more. Up to $150 off your print purchase. Ends 11/2. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details and staples.com/price match for in-store price match guarantee.
If you're a State Farm customer affected by the recent hurricane and need to submit a claim, go to statefarm.com, call 1-800-SF-CLAIM, download the State Farm mobile app, or contact your local State Farm agent. With one of the industry's largest catastrophe response teams, State Farm and your agent are ready to help. Go to statefarm.com to start your claim. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
The Adam Gold Show.
Look, we can talk about all of the scenarios and what happens next, but let's just remember, Mac Brown came back and restored order to North Carolina football. He got relationships with the high schools back going forward so you can recruit locally. Right now, it's not going well, and the future isn't super bright, but Mac deserves credit for getting them to this point.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. In addition to all this football talk we have going on, it is also a hockey night in Carolina. Stormwatch with our very own Adam Gold getting you set for tonight's preseason game. We'll begin at 6:30 here on 99.9 The Fan. Puck drop is scheduled against the Tampa Bay Lightning for about 7 o'clock. So you get a half hour of Adam getting you ready, and then Mike Maniscalco and the crew will take over, and they'll bring you the game starting at 7.
Most of the regular NHL dudes tonight.
Correct. The vets expected to play.
Yeah.
A little bit more name recognition.
Oh, yeah.
So that's all going on tonight. Don't forget, right here, 99.9 The Fan. As I said yesterday, live play-by-play, you're going to get all of it right here on 99.9, or at least a ton of it. Seemingly every time, we're not either mornings or we're live, it's going to be play-by-play, which is pretty cool. That's the way I think it should be on a sports radio station. Also, I think it should be about getting you ready for the games that are played. And that's what the Paw Print does. Paw Print brought to you by your Carolina Ford dealers. Go ahead and check them out for cars, trucks, and SUVs. The way we use Paw Print, we give you 2 players to watch for each Carolina Panthers game. They are playing at Chicago this weekend. It is the trade vengeance game. Obviously, these two teams were involved in one of the worst trades in NFL history when the Panthers gave up the farm for the pick that eventually went to Bryce Young, and they have since benched him. So if you can't win the trade, maybe you can win the game.
Let's go
on Sunday. What's there's that clip that's going around of Denzel Washington. I don't even know what it's from, but he just goes, "I'm leaving here with something. I'm leaving here with a win. You may have won the trade. I'm leaving here with something." Paw Print, 2 players to watch. I'll go first. Number 1 player to watch for the Panthers against Chicago, Trevin Wallace.
Oh, okay.
He is getting his first start off-ball linebacker due to injuries to Shaq Thompson and Josie Jewell. He's a 3rd-round pick, guy that comes in with, I would say, high athleticism, maybe a little undersized, but high athleticism. He can run, he can move, and he's a guy that had a knack for making plays, meaning the get his hands on the ball, force a fumble, get an interception, the kind of big swings plays in the preseason. He was one of the stars of the joint practices with the Jets, where he just every day made a couple plays that end up in those highlights that you see coming out of training camp. So due to injury, he's going to get forced into the starting lineup. He's going to get forced into a big role. I want to see what the young man does with it, right? There's nothing wrong with being Lou Gehrig, meaning, Wally Pipp. There's nothing wrong with being forced into action and then saying, oh, yeah, this is my job now, and never giving it back. There's nothing wrong with that for Trevin Wallace, and maybe that, that journey of 1,000 steps starts this weekend with one step.
He was actually my first player as well, Trevin Wallace, for many of those same reasons.
Meld.
And I think it's also important to keep in mind that, yeah, this guy's a rookie, but he was also the guy that so many raved about during training camp, during the preseason. I remember actually going to that preseason game against the Jets and they being in the locker room and talking to these guys. I mean, guys were talking him up. Like, yeah, there's something here with this guy. And I think it's also pretty telling, and I think it's also a great leadership move by Shaq Thompson. How during the week, right after the day Shaq Thompson had his surgery to repair his Achilles tendon, was still sending video cuts to Trevin Wallace, being like, "Hey, watch this. This is stuff you got to do." He's gonna have a ton on his plate, being the signal caller for the defense as a rookie. But I'm excited to see what this young man brings. Like you said, he brings some of that playmaking ability. I think he can actually do pretty well in pass coverage against a guy like Cole Kmet, the tight end for the Chicago Bears. I think he can cover better than Shaq Thompson and Josie Jewell, personally.
Ran at the combine. I just brought up his combine stats. 40-yard dash, 4.51, which is moving.
That is fast.
He's actually not as undersized as I thought. I think the eye test maybe looks a little undersized. He is, if I'm doing my math right here, 6'1", 237.
Yeah.
That's a legit off-ball linebacker size.
Absolutely.
But it makes it even more impressive that he runs a 4.5 and his vertical jump is 37.5. So you got an athlete out there. Lean on that. Run fast. Wherever you're going, book it. My next player to watch, I didn't do this intentionally. I didn't notice till just now. Team rookie this week, I guess. Xavier Legette.
Okay.
He has to be more comfortable now. Last week there was a lot of firsts, right? A lot the first touchdown dance, first 50-plus yard day, first handful of catch day, first drops, first there's just a lot of firsts that once you get them out, now maybe there's less of that intensity or less of that anticipation. So he has to be more comfortable. It's the touchdown, and I'm using the touchdown dance as a kind of example here. Your first touchdown, I do think you probably planned that a lot, right? He was talking about it on podcasts with Deebo Samuel, like, oh, I'm going to throw my leg up over Dollar Bill, which is the name of his horse back home, and I'm going to ride, and he did the whole horse thing. And then when he scored that touchdown, didn't it feel like it was like backstage at a middle school play? She's like, and action, go, 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 go. All right, and who's up next? Change your clothes. Where's Jimmy? He's got to sing the solo. Like, it felt like it was very da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Next time he scores, like, yeah, you've done it before, right? It's you hadn't thought about this end zone dance your entire life. Now you're into the rhythm a bit more. So I'll put this out there. I'm just throwing it into the universe. Watch out for his first 100-yard game. Watch out for his first 100-yard game. And, I don't think he gets to 100 without this. Watch out for his first real big explosive 40-plus yard play where he catches it 5 yards downfield and runs the rest. Maybe something over the top, long touchdown. Watch out for his first explosive, and meaning real explosive, and watch out for his first 100-yard game.
Okay, my next one is actually going to be Deontay Johnson. You're going up against Jalen Johnson, who's a really good cornerback, who has 2 interceptions this season for Chicago. Deontay Johnson is beginning a high volume of targets over the last 2 games since Andy Dalton has taken over. If I remember correctly, 25 targets over the last 2 games for Deontay Johnson. Yeah, there's no Adam Thielen there. So you mentioned Xavier Legette, how he has to step up because we know Deontay Johnson's going to get a lot of attention. But even though you're getting a lot of attention, Deontay, you still have to find your ways to get open and be a threat, and you have to attract the attention of the defense to open things up for Leggett, for Tommy Tremble, Jatavian Sanders, some of these other guys. So to me, it's Deontay Johnson going one-on-one against Jalen Johnson, the corner for Chicago. To me, that's going to be a fun matchup to watch as well. Either with
we have a lot of confidence
him or Tyreek Stevenson. It's going to be matched up against Deontay Johnson a lot.
We have a lot of confidence in Andy Dalton. We're just saying, watch all the pass catchers, all of them.
Hey, man's cooking.
I mean, for sure. The point I'll give about Deontay Johnson is, one, hasn't been fully practicing, which I don't.
A little bit of an ankle.
I don't love that at all, especially for somebody who depends so much on in and out of breaks. But other than that, I mean, he's set up to have a very, very big season. He's set up for the volume to be through the roof. And actually, you know, this is kind of what we talked about yesterday with the quarter season grades for Deontay Johnson. There's room to get significantly more efficient.
Oh, yeah.
His volume has been high. Yards have been high. He's scored. But if he makes that catch that glanced off his hands down the left sideline, yards per catch will go up. Yards will go up. If he makes the other touchdown catch, that would have been a tough catch, but you know, you're number one wide receiver. Maybe tough catches should be expected. Again, just efficiency can go even higher because he does have those 12 targets that weren't completed in the last 2 games. He has 15 catches, but 27 targets. So that's, you know, it's almost 50-50.
That's a lot. It's a lot of looks.
Maybe look towards Xavier Leggett to make me right.
Hey, I'm for it.
Big rookie day. What other rookie? Jatavian Sanders. There's always Jatavian.
There's always
Jatavian. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Thank you once again to the Carolina Ford dealers for presenting the Paw Print here on 99.9 The Fan. Again, check them out if you're interested in a big old Ford truck, car, SUV. You need to move something, need to haul something, or you just want an awesome car. Carolina Ford dealers.
Also the sponsor of Panthers Playbook.
Also the sponsors of Panthers Playbook, which is a podcast, all Panthers, all the time. Check it out. Everywhere podcasts can be found, hosted by Dennis Cox and Chris Lee of WRAL, including our YouTube channel, 99.9 The Fan. Did you watch the baseball game last night, Dennis?
No, actually I did not. But I heard about 9 million people in this area screaming when the Mets won.
You darn right you did. Do you know why they were screaming? Because that's not how it goes for the Mets.
It's not supposed to, right?
It's not. It's a new leaf. The Mets were losing. It was late. They had a guy who has been a bit maligned in Pete Alonso at the plate. 3-run, go-ahead home run to send the New York Mets in the divisional round against divisional opponent, the Philadelphia Phillies. Let's go.
Was that their NC State ACC tournament moment?
Maybe.
This thing that carries us over?
Maybe.
Is that it?
That's a good way to think about it. My favorite part of it, and actually maybe this is why it is. Maybe Pete Alonso becomes like the DJ Burns. So Pete Alonso has had a rough season. Not like particularly for stats, but it's a bit of like he makes a couple maybe bonehead plays or strikes out at a wrong time or gets an error at a really inopportune moment. And it's made him very difficult to root for, and it's made him very easy to point fingers at for certain very frustrated Mets fans. He missed what should have been a catch on a little foul ball yesterday. He, at the time, was 0 for 3, and man, did I see some mean tweets on Twitter, obviously. There was, I can't wait for this guy to be out of here. I hope they don't pay him. This is the best goodbye to Pete Alonso. Oh, he had to mess up. Then he came to bat in the 9th inning, down 2 with 2 runners on, and he mashed a tater. And then those same people on Twitter did the thing fans do so well. I love that guy. He's the best. Oh, my goodness. Some were even still honest and full like, I still hope he's gone, but now this is an awesome thing to remember him by. Like, it doesn't happen that way in sports very often where, a player gets the opportunity to rub it in the hater's face a little bit so immediately, and he got to do it. So there's been the Lindor moment. There's been the Alonso moment. If you're a Mets fan, you know what I'm talking about. These guys are etching their way into our forever good graces. And actually, there's a lot of Mets fans that are also Knicks fans. to me, it's kind of like the Dante DiVincenzo moment. I don't know if everybody saw this in the postseason for the Knicks, but he clanked a game winner. Then his team got the rebound, and he stepped into a three and hit the game winner for the Knicks this past postseason. And then they traded him this offseason, and everyone's just like, well, the trade makes sense. We need a center, but still love you, Dante. I think that's going to be the Pete Alonso thing now. It's yeah, okay, you got to go, but still love you because you gave us that moment against the Brewers, and you sent us into that series against the Phillies. Now, and I you know what is another part that I really enjoy about this? You're just hearing like fan Tim right now, which is great. Before the World Series, I picked the Mets to win it all. Because I didn't want to be the guy that didn't pick your favorite team when they go on that magical run. So I picked the Mets to win it all. It's online. It was on air. We have receipts. So because I did that and then this happened, now the superstition is I just have to keep being overly confident. Right? Now if you're a superstitious person and I'm like, all right, I don't want to jinx it. You're like, no. You jinxed it and it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So keep jinxing it. So now I can say things like this without any fans getting mad at me. I think they match up pretty well against the Phillies.
All right.
I think they match up pretty this is just I'm looking at the next series going, sure, you'll be a little bit more tired. Your bullpen will be a little bit more chewed up because you had to play this little mini 3-game series.
Yeah, but you had a day off today.
And I think you match up well.
You're cooking. You're just going straight from Milwaukee to Philly.
There's good vibes.
Yeah.
4-1.
4-1 Mets win this series, right? Right?
Some people, I don't know why it would take that long. Some people are maybe saying that there's, just eye test wise, no insider information. Bryce Harper's not right.
Some
people are saying it. Bryce Harper's just a little off. It's just a little off. I'm kidding about needing a sweep, though. I don't care. I don't care if this thing goes the distance. Get the win.
No, you got to be overly confident, Tim.
No,
4-1.
I think they're gonna
gentleman sweep. 4-1.
You think they drop one?
I mean,
that's what a gentleman sweep is, right? You drop the first and then you win the next four?
Yeah, or gentleman sweep, you just win it 4-1.
Okay.
In general.
What is it called when you drop the first and then win the next four?
Gentleman sweep. Yeah.
Gentleman sweep. All right. I want that specific gentleman sweep. Mm-hmm. I want to give Philadelphia Phillies fans all of the confidence in the world.
Let them be overconfident.
So they can send a whole bunch of things that we can then use as receipts when we rock the next four.
There are a lot of Mets fans in this building.
Yeah.
Work here in this building. There's
True.
you. There's Adam Gold. There's Mike Ewald, who works with our sales staff.
By the end of this year, everybody's going to be a Mets fan.
Are you sure about that?
You're going to want to be.
And will I?
You're going to want to be. You'll be sitting there talking about Benny Agbayani, John Olerud, Mike Piazza, Al Leiter. Maybe a Subway. How fun would a Subway series be this year?
Have that once again? When's the last time we had that? Was it 2000, right?
I think it was 01, and it was Piazza and Clemens when Clemens threw the bat at Piazza.
That's right.
Yeah. I could just name Mets here for a while. You want to do that?
You have Pedro Martinez?
Late career Pedro Martinez. You want to throw a little Jose Reyes at you?
Okay.
Want to throw a little should we go all the way back? No.
How about you give me the name of give me the name of the first Carolina Panther to score a touchdown this weekend?
There you go. Actually, why don't we go ahead and fire that up and open up the phone lines? Heister Automotive Group hotline, 919-860-5326. It is officially our first touchdown scorer competition. We need 3 callers at 919-860-5326 to predict who's going to score the first touchdown for the Panthers and in what I keep saying period because we started this with hockey. In what quarter they will score it in. And it's who possesses the football in the end zone. If Andy Dalton throws a touchdown, it'll be whoever catches the touchdown that counts, not Andy Dalton. If Andy Dalton runs in a touchdown or if he goes Jared Goff and catches a touchdown, that would be Andy Dalton's touchdown. So if you get it right, on air, the 3 contestants that we'll take on the phone lines, 919-860-5326. If they get it right, they're the official contestants. They will win a Autobell Car Wash gift card, prize pack that includes some swag from the station, some other things. Those 3 will have the chance. So we're collecting the contestants now. Call in quickly, 919-860-5326. If you get it right, you get the prize pack. Everybody else, you can still win bragging rights, which are just as important, maybe even more important if you're like me. You can comment on our YouTube live stream with your answer. Who do you think will score the first touchdown and in what quarter they will do it? Be as specific as you want. You could say, 50-plus yards. You could say catch. You could say fumble recovery. You could pick a defensive player if you want to get crazy. But do whatever you want as far as player and quarter. First touchdown for the Panthers against Chicago. The first official contestant we have on the phone lines is Barry and Selma. Barry and Selma, welcome to the show. Good luck. Who do you think will score the first touchdown, and in what quarter will they do it?
I'm sticking with my man, Chuba Hubbard, in the first.
Chuba in the first. I do think if Vegas put lines out on this specific deal, Chuba in the first would be the best odds. So you got to the phone lines first, and you got the betting favorite. Congratulations. Go ahead and stay on the line. Dennis has some info he needs to get from you. That brings us to Dave and Raleigh. Dave, who are you going with for the first touchdown score, and in what quarter?
Hey, Tim, let's go with the Savior in the first.
The Savior in the first?
Xavier Legette.
Oh, Xavier. I thought you were saying Andy Dalton was the Savior. I was like, oh, all right, we're calling him the Savior now. Xavier Legette in the first is your move? Yeah, Xavier Legette in the first.
Maybe Xavier is the Savior.
Ooh, got it. Did we just come up with a nickname
I think
accidentally?
we did. I think, Dave, you might have just gave us something.
The Savior Legette. Jeff and Raleigh, you are the third official contestant. Who do you think will score the first touchdown of the game for the Panthers, and in what quarter?
Both the guys I wanted are already taken, so I'm going to go with Sanders, tight end.
Hey,
first quarter.
That's my guy, Jatavian Sanders. You said first quarter?
Yes, sir.
All right. You are locked in. Go ahead and stay on the line. Dennis has some info he needs to get from you to make sure you get your prize if you do win. This is an observation I just made. Again, if you didn't get through on the let me get this out of the way before I get to the observation. If you didn't get through calling in and you still want to be able to say I was right and I knew it, you can comment on our YouTube live stream with the player and the period, or the quarter if we're playing football, the player and the quarter that you think the first touchdown will come in for the Panthers. You can also tweet it at me at Donnelly Sports. We will accept them there. And if you get them right, we will give you your due. We will give you your credit. We will give you your props on air. Here's what I've noticed. The fans are getting more and more and more confident in the Panthers offense. And what I mean by that is when we did this for the first week we did it, I think it was week 1, there were predictions of second quarter. I think there was even a third quarter prediction for the first touchdown for the Panthers. Now we got Chuba in the first from Barry. Dave says Xavier Legette in the first, and Jeff locked in Jatavian Sanders in the first. And Jeff's is the one I want to point out because Jeff called in third, right? We can't have a double up, so he couldn't match either of the first two callers. And Jeff said, "Oh man, those guys picked the players I wanted, so I guess I'll go with Jatavian Sanders in the first." He wanted Chuba Hubbard or Xavier Legette. That was what Jeff wanted. And he couldn't even comprehend. He didn't even entertain the option of taking one of the two players he wanted in the second quarter. Instead, he went, I guess I'll have to find a completely other player because I know the Panthers are going to score in the first, is essentially what he was saying. There's just a lot of confidence in this Panthers offense that was not there a month ago.
No, it was not.
Everybody's picking the first quarter. Everyone with a different player, everyone with a different position. We have a running back and a receiver and a tight end.
Love it.
Dennis, we have to give ours just to be fair. Put our
to be fair.
Yeah, like just in the interest of full accountability. Who do you think is going to score the first touchdown in what quarter?
I'm going to go back to what I had last week. Tommy Tremble in the first. I think they get down near the goal line. They do like a little play action. He pretends to block for a hot second, sneaks out, boom, wide open there in the corner of the end zone.
See, I
little 3-yard touchdown pass.
Jumped at an opportunity to go back to where I was at the beginning of the year because Tremble didn't practice one today. So I'm thinking maybe his reps aren't fully, like he doesn't have his full allotment of reps, which leaves the door open for Jatavian Sanders, me and Jeff. Gosh, this is the second week. I thought I'm going to be so off the grid. No one's going to pick the same one I am. I'm picking such a long shot, and then I had a caller immediately come in and go, same guy. Last week I thought like Xavier Legette, there's no way. Second caller was like, oh, I want Xavier Legette. He did score, by the way, just wasn't the first scorer. So I'm not changing mine just because a caller did. Right, I'm not eligible for the prize. So Jatavian Sanders in the first is my pick for the first touchdown scorer for the Panthers.
Tommy Tremble did practice today.
He did, but he didn't practice yesterday.
He did not.
Or he didn't practice Wednesday.
He did not practice yesterday. He did practice Wednesday.
Then he didn't on Thursday. That's not a traditional vet day.
Then he's back. Then he's back today.
I think I'm not saying he doesn't play.
Yeah.
I'm saying I think maybe his reps are a little less than normal, which leaves the door ajar for a young rookie Jatavian Sanders to jump in and get his first career touchdown. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Thank you to everybody for playing. Thank you to everybody for calling in. We'll revisit that on Monday like we always do. Right now, however, here's Dennis Cox.
3 weeks. 3 weeks. Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. First time in 3 weeks I had to ride the motorcycle today. It felt good, folks. But I had to make sure that out of my excitement, I didn't get too, overzealous out there on the roads, didn't, roll on the throttle a little bit more than normal. No, I had to be smart. I had to be safe out there on the road. Actually, something I did intentionally because it's been a long time since I rode the motorcycle to make sure I'm safe is actually kind of rode around the neighborhood actually just real quick. Like, okay, get a feel for the bike once again, make sure I'm safe out there on the road, checking all my blind spots, making sure everything is safe. Unfortunately, accidents do happen. And if you are in an accident on the motorcycle, you got to give Law Tigers a call at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS before you call your insurance company. As we all know, insurance companies, let's be real, they're a hassle. They want to pay you the least amount possible. They're going to hem and haw. They're going to take forever to get the money out to you that's owed to you. Law Tigers, they're riders too. They understand what your bike is worth, what your gear is worth, what you are going through after an accident. That's why your case evaluation with them is always free, and they don't get paid until your case settles. Let's say you even got into an accident a few months ago, sometime back in the spring even. Still give Law Tigers a call. If the insurance company isn't doing what they're supposed to do, still call Law Tigers at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers, or you can check them out online at lawtigers.com. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have real, bold predictions coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Keep pounding. Panther Talk, Panthers Playbook, the Paw Print. Follow your Carolina Panthers all season with us.
Dalton is in empty. Here's the snap. Pocket holds. Andy fires downfield. 1-6. Touchdown. End zone. Center cut. Deontay Johnson.
Your home for complete Carolina Panthers coverage. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
See if you're a winner every night. Watch live lottery drawings on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news. That's right, Carolina Pick 3, Carolina Pick 4, and Carolina Cash 5 numbers every night on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news. See if you're a winner before you go off to bed. Get your lottery numbers live every night.
North Carolina Education Lottery.
Only on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news.
Homeowners, listen up. The Fed has taken action, lowering rates for the first time in years, and Loan Pronto has followed suit by lowering mortgage rates big time. Hey, it's Dennis Cox for Loan Pronto. Loan Pronto just locked in a homeowner at 4.59% APR, the lowest in 2 years. Whether you got your loan last month or last year, it's time to call Loan Pronto and dump that high-rate loan. You can lock in a lower rate with virtually no paperwork and usually no appraisal. There's no limit on how many times you can refi refi. So get started. Even if you're in process with another lender, give Loan Pronto a call. If you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Purchase loans available as well. So call now. Get your rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call 919-381-1760 or loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, North Carolina's injury lawyers.
Visit GotBrian.com.
That's GotBrian.com.
This is The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Before we jump into real, bold predictions, text keyword green, you all listening, if you want a chance to win a pair of tickets to see Riley Green at Coastal Credit Union Music Park on June 14th. Text keyword green to 919-860-5326. That's keyword green, GREEN, to 919-860-5326 for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Riley Green at Coastal Credit Union Music Park on June 14th. Now let's jump into one of my favorite games of the week. It is Real Bold Predictions. The way this works, I'm going to make predictions that I feel are bold. The beauty of this show is we don't just trust me, right? Because people love to go bold prediction and then say something that's not bold, then show up on Monday and brag about how I went 9 of 10 on my bold predictions. I'm like, that's because none of them were bold. So we have installed what we call the not bold enough buzzer and the bold enough bell. If I make a bold prediction, then it is bold enough, you'll hear the bell. If it is not, you'll hear the buzzer, and I have to make it more bold on the spot until we hear the bell. I'll get it started, and I'll start off something kind of easy, something that we've already talked about once today already. Xavier Legette, rookie wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers, against Chicago on the road this week, gets his first career 100-yard receiving game. I think he's due to pop a little bit, due to break out a little bit, even a little bit further than he did the previous week when he had whatever it was, 60-something yards and a touchdown. I've also been waiting, and I think it's coming, for his first true explosive play, his first 60-yard touchdown, his first, screen that he takes 40 yards into the end zone or 40 yards down to the 5-yard line. I think you're going to see that from Xavier Legette as he gets more comfortable, and no better time like today, right? No better day like Sunday. Real bold predictions. Now, I may have to wait because our checks and balances system, Dennis, just jumped on the phone. Are you good? All right, he's good. How about this? I'm picking an 8.5-point underdog to win outright. That has to be bold, right? Duke beats Georgia Tech. They're a more than one touchdown underdog.
Yeah, but it's Duke 5-0 against 3-2 Georgia Tech.
All right, Duke beats Georgia Tech by more than a field goal. Duke does nothing but play close games. Duke beats Georgia Tech by at least 6. All right. See, this is why we have that system, but it does sometimes force me to go further than I want to go. I think Duke has a good chance of beating Georgia Tech. We'll put it that way. Brandon Cisse, we're talking NC State cornerback. They're playing Wake Forest this weekend. I think Cisse gets an interception for NC State. All right, got the bold enough bell on that one. I think he's playing really high-level football. I think he's taking a few chances, which is why I like him to get an interception. It just seems like he's due to make one of those plays that kind of flips the game for NC State. And with the defense playing better this past weekend, maybe that turned over a little bit of a leaf for that defense, and then a pressure or a arm that gets hit while throwing by the opposing team's quarterback, Hank Bachmeier. Maybe Cisse gets the benefit of one of those, but just it's gut feeling. I think he gets his hands on the ball. Oh, we'll go to UNC. This is also kind of, I just said that Dennis is the guy that decides whether our bold predictions are bold enough. Sometimes I use this as a gauge just to see like how far someone needs to go in order for it to be bold. For example, like Omarion Hampton. He's really good for UNC. So it's fascinating to me to see how far Dennis is going to make me go on this. Omarion Hampton, 100 yards rushing versus Pitt. 110 yards rushing. 125. 150. 100.
I'm kidding. I was messing you on that one.
150
solid.
150 would be a big game, but also I think would go a long way. He had 109, I believe, plus about 50 yards receiving against Duke. We're obviously just talking rushing yards here, but if they run the ball like that, I think that'll really help them on their way towards winning against Pitt. I don't know. This is bold. This may be way, way not bold. The Mets are going to win the World Series. Team of Destiny, baby. Team of Destiny.
That's just, I don't even know if I want to call that bold. That just might be asinine.
It's bold enough. I'll tell you that much. Bold enough. Team of Destiny. Pete Alonso. I'm just going to scream things.
Is he your World Series MVP?
Mets. No, he's not. It would be Francisco Lindor, obviously. I don't even know. Devontae Adams, not traded to the Ravens. For those of you that haven't seen it, Devontae Adams is making social media go into an uproar. Devontae Adams asked for a trade from the Raiders.
Yep.
All of the speculation immediately became he wanted to go to the Jets because that's where his old quarterback Aaron Rodgers is, or the Saints because that's where his old quarterback Derek Carr is. Then today he posted a picture of Edgar Allan Poe. For those of you that aren't aware, Edgar Allan Poe wrote the famous poem, The Raven. Nevermore. Nevermore. It's actually what the Ravens are named after, I believe.
It is, because even though he was born in Boston, grew up in Baltimore, quote the Raven nevermore, the Baltimore Ravens.
There you go. And their mascot is named Poe. P-O-E.
Yeah.
So they lean into it. So everyone assumed, and then he also posted a quote by Edgar Allan Poe, and everybody assumed that's Devontae Adams telling everybody he's going to the Ravens. But do you know what everyone is not remembering about Devontae Adams? He comes from the Aaron Rodgers School of Dramatic Acting. He spent a lot of time with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is the king of saying something that is obviously cryptic and then showing up 2 weeks later going, I don't know why everyone got all bent out of shape about that. It didn't mean anything. I was just talking. Devontae Adams is I do not hold it against him to announce that he's being traded to the Jets 2 days from now and go, no, I was just catching up on my literature. Big Edgar Allan Poe fan. Didn't even know he was connected to the Ravens, for which all of us would go, yeah, okay.
Sure you didn't.
Yeah, okay.
Sure you did. You just happened to randomly drop that in there.
How about this? CeeDee Lamb. I like always having a bold prediction about Sunday Night Football. There's Cowboys, Steelers, Sunday Night Football. CeeDee Lamb, 150 yards receiving. I don't know what else the Cowboys are going to do. Brandon Cooks is out. Rico Dowdle is their number one running back.
Who?
He's a guy that would have been out of the league 4 years ago if he wasn't a good special teamer. Now he's the number one running back on the Cowboys. Jalen Tolbert becomes the other leading pass catcher. Ferguson, I guess, the tight end might be back. But really, there's going to be a lot of targets going CeeDee Lamb's way. So 150 yards, I think he makes it happen. And it could be like a volume 150. It could be like 13 catches for 150 yards. It doesn't have to be, explosive plays to get there.
Micah Parsons not playing in that game, by the way, for Dallas.
So they might have to even keep up a little. No, because it's the Steelers. No offense.
Hey, they just put up 24 last week. You watch yourself.
No offense. I feel like when the other team's best defensive players aren't out there, the Steelers' offense is perfect. We can take 12 minutes a drive. They're not thinking
true.
we can score 40 points. They're thinking they'll never be able to stop us on 3rd and short from picking up one more yard than the first down marker.
That's an Arthur Smith offense for you.
Justin Fields is going to complete 19 passes for 27 yards. 14 first downs, though. Last one here.
Efficiency.
Kind of. Yes and no.
Yeah.
Like wildly inefficient efficiency. Last one. The ACC gets 3 teams in the college football playoff.
Let's name them. Miami?
It's going to be Miami. It's going to have to be Louisville.
Is it Duke?
Maybe.
Is it Duke?
How long until we got like Duke, Pitt, and Miami in there? Clemson? Could Clemson work their way back in?
I think Clemson honestly can. Which, by the way, we'll have that game, them and Florida State, and make our picks at 5:45.
Florida State will not be in the college football playoff. Will not be in the ACC championship. It is funny. Like Florida State, this is not a joke, and I wasn't even intending on going here with this. They ruin a lot of my points that I'm trying to make with statistics.
Oh, FSU?
Florida State does.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at a team that's really bad at something, and I want to be able to like scream into the microphone, they are dead last in the ACC in ba-ba-ba, in ba-ba-ba, in ba-ba-ba. But then when you look them up, it's almost always like the team that I want to make the emphasis is really bad, then like 50 feet of crap, and then Florida State. And I'm just like, it doesn't sound as bad to go like, they are worse than everyone in the ACC except for Florida State at ba-ba-ba and ba-ba-ba. So it kind of ruins the effectiveness of my like repetitive point making just by having Florida State so far near the bottom of so many stats. And it becomes even worse when you think about they were a top 10 team preseason in the country.
Gosh, do you think their game against Clemson this weekend, we can wrap on this, the loser has to drop their lawsuit against the ACC?
I think
there should be something at stake. Well, yes, but the loser has to. Like, you're forced to do it.
Loser has to spend a season in the Mountain West. You want out of the ACC?
Yeah.
Loser has to go spend a season.
That's funny. Like, we'll give you a list of
USA.
conferences you can go to.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like Mountain West, the WAC. You're going to play Tuesdays at Ball State. Congrats, FSU.
Oh, speaking of, and this will be the point we ended on. Maction is starting up this weekend, like with those Tuesday, Wednesday games.
Yeah.
We have 55 consecutive days with FBS or NFL football.
Okay, look at that.
55 from now until, I think it's like right before Thanksgiving. We have a FBS or an NFL game every single day, starting yesterday. So we're now at 54, starting with Thursday Night Football. Let's go. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have the starting 5 coming up next. We'll get you all prepped and ready for the weekend. Stick around.
The Adam Gold Show.
Look, we can talk about all of the scenarios and what happens next, but let's just remember, Mac Brown came back and restored order to North Carolina football. He got relationships with the high schools back going forward so you can recruit locally. Right now, it's not going well, and the future isn't super bright, but Mac deserves credit for getting them to this point.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
If you're a State Farm customer affected by the recent hurricane and need to submit a claim, go to statefarm.com, call 1-800-SF-CLAIM, download the State Farm mobile app, or contact your local State Farm agent. With one of the industry's largest catastrophe response teams, State Farm and your agent are ready to help. Go to statefarm.com to start your claim. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
It's bow time. It's not just football season. It's tailgate season. And that includes every kind of football, whether it's got goalkeepers or goalposts. The kick is good! Because it doesn't matter where or how you tailgate. When you've got crispy chicken and fluffy buttermilk biscuits from Bojangles, your tailgate is better than great. It's legendary. Head to Bojangles and order your tailgate box with boldly seasoned chicken, fixins, biscuits, and legendary iced tea today. It's bow time.
Planning a tailgate? Then it's bow time. Bojangles has everything you need for the perfect tailgate, no matter how many fans you're trying to feed. There's the original tailgate, the super tailgate, and for a really big crowd, the jumbo tailgate special. And if you like your chicken off the bone, choose the Supreme's tailgate special that includes 12 perfectly seasoned tenderloin fillets. So grab the tickets, get that Bojangles tailgate special, and go! It's bow time.
A happy place comes in many colors. One that leaves you feeling refreshed. Something that gets you all fired up. Or gives you the space to chill. Whatever your color, bring happiness home with CertaPro Painters and make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Get started today at CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Hard to believe, but we're already here at the main part of Week 5 of the NFL, and FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, ready to celebrate Andy Dalton going up against his former mates from Cincinnati. We're going to get you started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 wager. Hey, have some fun. Andy Dalton going to throw 9 touchdown passes. The odds on that would be pretty steep. Just go to FanDuel.com/AdamGold and make every moment more this season with FanDuel. FanDuel.com/AdamGold. FanDuel.com/AdamGold. FanDuel is an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
The final shot at the Championship 4 comes down to a track that's been here from day one. Martinsville. NASCAR Playoffs weekend at Martinsville Speedway. November 1st through the 3rd. Get your tickets now at martinsvillespeedway.com.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Raleigh's injury lawyers.
Bounces his way into the end zone. Touchdown! Visit GotBrian.com.
That's GotBrian.com. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays. We made it to the end of the work week. The weekend's looking pretty good. Partly to mostly cloudy tonight, 66 the low, 20% chance for a shower more possible in our eastern counties. It's warm, the high up to about 86.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones is up 341 points today to 42,352. Market update brought to you by The Good Feet Store. Ready to step into a healthy and active lifestyle? Come to The Good Feet Store and experience the difference. Discover how a simple step can lead to a life of pain-free possibilities.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting 5.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is 5 o'clock on a Friday. Congratulations, everybody. If you work a traditional 9 to 5, you've made it to the weekend. Happy for you. Thank you for starting your weekend with us. Hopefully you got some big plans. We have some big plans for right now. That's called the Starting 5, starting with number 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Canes are in action tonight.
Yeah, they are. Let's go.
Canes preseason action at home. They are playing Tampa Bay, which, by the way, they opened the regular season with back-to-back against Tampa Bay.
Yeah, they do. Actually, 1 week from today at Lenovo Center.
Yeah, I guess it is Friday, isn't it?
Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Let's go.
So this is, kind of, I don't know. I alternate between having nothing else to grasp onto for the Canes, so I overemphasize the preseason, and knowing full well that I shouldn't do that. So there's just this constant push and pull where I'm like, maybe there's a nugget you could learn about the opener from this matchup, and then my brain goes, reel it in. No, they're not going to be stupid enough to show you anything. But there are kind of two different species of preseason games. One is where you play all your young guys, your prospects, your hopefully future, but maybe some AHL guys, some healthy scratch guys. And then there's the other one where you play pretty much your entire opening day roster, all the vets. And this would be the second version. You're going to see the stars in this one. You're going to see the Ahos, the Svetches, the Jarvises, and that makes it, I think, a little bit more exciting. Dennis, anything we should know going into this one?
You're going to see, again, a lot of the vets, like you mentioned. There will be a couple of young guys playing tonight. Jackson Blake.
That actually is, I think, fascinating.
And also, first time this preseason, we're going to see Scott Morrow, the young defenseman. He was a little bit banged up early in training camp last week, so it's actually going to be his first preseason game today. So he's going to skate today as well. I think Jalen Chatfield of the regular defenseman is not going to play today. My guess is he actually travels tomorrow because you have to have a certain number of NHL players playing preseason games. So he'll probably be like the veteran on defense, kind of like Dmitry Orlov was when they went to Tampa earlier in the preseason.
The Jackson Blake decision, I think, is interesting. Scott Morrow as a rookie playing with the vets, I think, is more to do with the fact that he hasn't been able to play due to the injury, and preseason games are important for young guys, so I wouldn't be surprised if he plays in both of the last two.
I mean, there's a potential he does travel and play tomorrow as well.
Just like because they need him in game reps, and these are valuable, and he hasn't gotten that due to the injury. The Jackson Blake decision, though, he has been getting the reps with the young guys. He has not been hurt. Now it feels, for me, from the outside, a little bit more audition-like. You know, hey, if you look like you belong, maybe we entertain the idea of keeping you up with the big club, if not opener early in the season.
So he'll be actually skating on a line, from my understanding, it would be Tyson Jost and Sam Gagner. Sam Gagner was a veteran player. He's on a professional trial contract, but the guy was with the Edmonton Oilers playing in the Stanley Cup in the playoffs last year. So he's playing with a veteran guy like Gagner and a guy like Tyson Jost, who's trying to make his spot on the roster as well.
A lot of fourth line fighting for minutes there going on.
Oh, yeah.
So
top three lines are set, I feel.
Yes, but I'm saying those three guys are fighting for minutes on the fourth line. And as they should. I mean, that's what the preseason is for. Go scrap and claw for your individual. Once the season starts, team first, team always, team only. Preseason, though, you're fighting for your spot. Go get it. I always thought this was also interesting about preseason hockey.
What's that?
You can bet on it.
You can.
Canes are favored by 1.5 goals, and I'm going like, I don't know. Maybe take the over. The over-under is 6.5, and it seems like the Canes don't mind giving up goals and being aggressive going to score them, but I don't know. Preseason scares the heck out of me as far as putting any of my own scratch on the game. That's number 5. Let's jump to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
PITT at UNC, noon kickoff in the Atlantic Coast Conference. UNC looking for a get-right game. PITT, not the easiest get-right game. UNC, obviously, I mean, you start 3-0. We know what the 2 losses were. You give up 70 points to James Madison. You give up a 20-point lead to Duke, and you're going to be rattled. The way those losses happened, the rhetoric around your team, there's going to be just an uneasiness. I'm wondering how, and I do think as a coach you kind of have to plan for this, how you get the first exhale, right? Because you're going to come into the game. I guarantee you, I know how the team is going to react. They're going to be wildly intense, maybe even a little too tense, right? You're going to, like, everyone's been there. I'll give the most famous example. The most famous example of what I'm trying to explain in the history of the NFL is Joe Montana pointing out John Candy in the huddle, right? You're out there. I think it was a Super Bowl. You need a 2-minute drive to go win. I believe it might have even been the catch, the Dwight Clark catch drive. And you're out there knowing we have to score a touchdown on this drive or else we lose. And everyone in that huddle, what do you think was going on? There was probably like just dramatics, tight, intense, maybe even some like, what do you got, Joe? We'll make it happen for you. Like just overly that. And then what does Joe Montana do? Hey, is that John Candy? Everybody laughs. Everybody jokes. Everybody exhales. They go right down the field, score one of the most iconic touchdowns in NFL history. Now, is this a Super Bowl? No. But I do think UNC is going to come into the game with their back muscles tight. They're going to come in like, a freshman giggles on the bus and get punched in the face by a senior. Like, this is one of those games where it's like, no, we can't let what happened the last 2 weeks happen again. Obviously, the best way to kind of let the intensity out of the room would be to, like, score a touchdown on the first drive and just have everybody go like, whew. Maybe you do have, you lean on somebody. I don't know if a player has the charisma on that team to give the John Candy deal, right? Part of why it worked is because Joe Montana was Joe Cool. He was Joe Montana. He could pull it off. There's nothing worse than somebody who doesn't have the charisma of Joe Cool trying to do something that Joe Cool would do, and you just end up looking like a fool. But there needs to be something in that game, particularly early in that game, that, just lets a little air out of the tires, right? They're a little overinflated right now for UNC. I guarantee it. Mac Brown thinks the team needs to focus on themselves. As much as Pitt is an undefeated ACC team coming into your house, Mac Brown thinks it's all about them.
Every game's important. We talk to our players about, and we have to do this in life, you need to be where your feet are. You better worry about today. We don't even know if we've got them. We can be gone tomorrow. So worry about today. Worry about getting better. Worry about what you fix. And don't worry about what happens if somebody doesn't like something that you did. I mean, if we had beaten Duke, the ones that are mad would have still been mad over JMU. So you can't worry about all that. If you start, you better worry about yourself. And I'm responsible for a lot of people. I got to worry about them. I sure can't get overloaded enough to start worrying about everybody else.
You do have to focus on yourself. Every coach will say it. I don't love the, like, everyone's going to not like us regardless rhetoric. Like, oh, even if we won, they still would have been mad at us. Because then you're saying, like, even if we win this one, everyone's going to, like, put a light at the end of the tunnel.
And don't paint yourself in a corner.
Let's go beat Pitt by 40, make everyone forget about it. Not like, even if we beat Pitt, they're still going to hate us for the Duke game. Like, I don't know. It just seems very doom and gloom and woe is me. We lost to JMU by 20 and we gave up 70. So the Duke game, it didn't matter if we won. Everyone would still hate us. Everyone would still be angry with us. I don't know. Me and Mac aren't seeing eye to eye very often. That's number 4. Let's go ahead and jump to number 3. Got a little in-state game going on. Wake Forest coming to Raleigh, Carter Finley to play the NC State Wolfpack. This one's interesting. Wake has, I like, for better or worse, their schedule shows that they'll get in a shootout. Like, if you look at the games they've played, 41-38 loss to Louisiana. They've scored 30 and lost 31-30 against Virginia. They scored 45 and won against North Carolina A&T. Then they got rolled by Ole Miss 2 weeks ago. But I think that offense can score if they get into any kind of a rhythm. NC State's defense has shown, a couple times this year, the other offense can get into a rhythm and roll a bit. So this is all about that. Don't let them get into a rhythm. Don't let Hank Bachmeier complete, 7 of his first 9. And don't let Claiborne get rolling going downhill as a running back. If your State's defense set the tone by bottling up Wake, if not, you might find yourself in a shootout, and that's not where NC State wants to be because they have a freshman quarterback that they need to bring along slowly, I guess. Right? They haven't cut him loose yet. They talk quite often about how his role has to be just to manage the offense and not turn the ball over and make smart decisions. It's not exactly, force the issue, trust your arm, make big plays. So, State needs to avoid a shootout by any means necessary. Dave Doran spoke with the media and asked if the message has changed at all for his freshman quarterback, C.J. Bailey, going into his third start.
Yeah, there's a lot of things when you're breaking in a new quarterback that are unique. But the message is always the same. We want to end every drive with a kick, not turn the ball over, which we did a great job of last week. We want to win the line of scrimmage, which, means minimal tackles for loss and no sacks. and we want to make explosive plays. And we did not make explosive plays a week ago, and that is why we were off the field so many times. So the message doesn't change. The execution of what we're doing has to improve. And obviously looking at play selection and things like that, that's on the coaches. You know, what can we do to help with that, you know, with formations, with personnel, with motions.
With formations, with personnel, with motions. I didn't mention this earlier. Motions. Motions, motions, motions. Pre-snap motions. I can't emphasize this enough for a young quarterback. Maybe not in your first start, maybe not in your first two, because then you feel like you just have to remember to send them in motion and like, oh gosh, who's in motion? What's going on? But once you get used to being a traffic cop, once your heart rate isn't a billion just by standing in front of that many people, pre-snap motions are your best friend because they give you clues about what the defense is doing. You know, if your wide receiver goes from right slot to left slot, does somebody run with him? The fewer and fewer and fewer decisions and recognitions that a quarterback has to make post-snap, the better when they are younger. So, yes, if you're talking about helping C.J. Bailey, one of the ways you can do that, pre-snap motions. So do it, because then, like, it's giving the answers to the test, right? Hey, I know it's man. So before the snap, you're anticipating finding your man beaters, your the parts of your concepts that are there to beat man. Just the other day, I've got a buddy who's coaching high school football, and he texted me. This was last week, maybe on like Wednesday. He texted me, "What's your favorite simple man beater?" And he might as well have texted me like, "Hey, I have tickets to Disneyland." It was so fun. I got out the notebook, scribbled some X's and O's like I was back in the day on a sheet of paper, took a picture of it, sent it over to him. It was great. And he was like, "Thanks, appreciate it. I had something like this. I knew you would like that, whatever." And it brings you right back to, if you know what the defense is going to do, it's so easy. And I talked the other day about how every athlete that's played college anything loves to do the thought process of how good would I have been if I went back to high school with what I know now? Because high school is so like, this team plays man, and they just play man coverage, and you can go out there every time, one safety, two. They're just a man team, and if you know what the defense is doing, it's so easy. Motions would allow C.J. Bailey to have a much better idea of what they're doing. Then it just becomes, all right, they do this. Here's what I do. It's a choose your own adventure. Flip to page 6. All right, throw the man beater. Oh, look, nobody ran with him. Looks like it's going to be zone. Let me find the tight end in a hole over the middle. It's right there. It's all right there.
It's like if you're playing cards and you can see the other team's hand.
Yes, and
it's like, oh, so you have pair of kings. Got it.
Yeah, I would say motion is like one of their cards.
Yeah,
right. It just helps a better idea. It's like, all right, I know he has an ace. So help out your young quarterback. That's a Robert and Nye conversation, their offensive coordinator. That's number 3. Let's get to number 2.
Just the two of us.
Duke at Georgia Tech. This is a 8 o'clock ACC network game. So it's prime time-ish. Prime time, but not prime network. So it's not like an ABC game or an ESPN game, but still. Duke night game at Georgia Tech. 3-2 Georgia Tech, but with losses to Syracuse and Louisville. They're still seen by Vegas as the better team than Duke. They are an 8.5-point favorite.
It's wild to me.
8.5 is a lot. If you told me 3, if you said this was a pick'em at a neutral field, but because it's in Georgia Tech, you're going to give them 3, I could understand it. 8.5 though, you got to beat them by 2 full scores though. It's interesting. What it tells me is they think some of these Duke wins are true, like rabbits out of their hat. They're true, oh, they didn't deserve that, maybe got a little lucky. Because Duke does play these tight games. This is what the Vegas line is saying. They're saying Duke isn't actually better or very, very good at winning close games. They just get lucky. It's like fumbles. You hear this all the time. Once a fumble is on the ground, there's like no skill in recovering it because a football is funny shaped, and oftentimes the people pouncing on it aren't people that handle the football very often. Once you put it on the ground, it's like 50-50. That's what the advanced statistics will show you for like over decades. Sometimes you're going to have a game where you put it on the ground 6 times and you recover it all 6 and you don't lose a fumble. Basically what I'm saying is sometimes you just get lucky a bunch of times in a row. Sometimes you flip a coin and it lands on head 6 times in a row. I guess Vegas is saying these close games that Duke keeps getting themselves in, they could go either way, and Duke's just getting lucky that it keeps going their way. I tend to believe, and maybe this is the athlete in me, that the athletes earn it in those close games. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. And the more you win close games, the more your confidence goes up, the more you know how to win in close games. So Georgia Tech has played in close games, right? Georgia Tech lost to Syracuse right down the wire. You could say maybe that's a 50-50 game, or you could say Georgia Tech still needs to learn how to win close games. The only close game they've won this year is against Florida State. Matter of fact, let's just say this out loud. I'm looking at their schedule right now. Duke should be even more mad because I'm sitting here saying that Georgia Tech is 3-2, but their 2 losses come to Syracuse and Louisville, so it's not that bad. How about we look at the other side?
The Syracuse team that lost to Stanford.
That's true too. But their wins are against Florida State, which
they stink.
That's not an impressive win. Georgia State, which that's not an impressive win, and VMI,
which is an FCS school.
So they have no wins that impress me, and 2 losses. If I'm Duke, heck, I'm putting 8.5 in everyone's locker when they show up at Georgia Tech. I'm going to hang your jersey. I'm going to give you your wristbands. Here's where your cleats are. 8.5. And if you ask anybody what that means, that's how much Vegas is disrespecting you. Go win the game. I may dabble a little bit of money line on Duke on there. I may dabble. Always gamble responsibly. Only gamble money you can lose. I may just throw a little scratch on Duke on the money line to beat Georgia Tech and be 6-0. That's number 2. Let's get to number 1.
Go on!
Panthers versus Bears. Sunday. This is a 1 o'clock game, right? Sunday, 1 o'clock, Panthers, Bears. It is the trade revenge game. It is you swindled us. You sold us a pick that ended up being Bryce Young, and you got everything in the world for it. So as our little bit of revenge, we're going to try to go into your house and rough you up. If you look at the ESPN matchup predictor, Chicago Bears are 63.1% to win. If you look at Vegas, Chicago Bears are favored by 4.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Well, I'll put it this way: the Bears opened the line at 5.5-point favorites, and it's down to 4.
Okay.
So it's moving towards the Panthers. I said this on Monday. I'll echo it here today on Friday, just to show that nothing is wavered. If the Panthers don't win this game, they should be disappointed. And that is a new place for them recently. At the beginning of the year, meaning during the preseason, I made this point. They were not favored, right? Because you can go get lines on every game once your schedule comes out. They were picked to lose. They were favored to lose every single game, which may tell you like, oh, losses shouldn't bother you, as long as you play well. No, against the Bears, who are 2-2, by the way, but I think it's a bit of a fugazi 2-2. It's not the strongest 2-2. I think the Panthers should be disappointed if they don't win. I think the Panthers should have a legitimate anger if they don't win. This is not the Group of 5 team playing the Power 5 team, and hey, if we're in it in the fourth quarter, that's a good memory. This is not, hey, as long as our offense shows progress. This is a game that you should win. Caleb Williams has not been playing well enough. I said this earlier this week, and still, I feel like we've got to say it out loud just to make us all on the same page. The first 4 games of Bryce Young's career, he played better than Caleb Williams has played the first 4 games of his career. From a statistical standpoint, higher completion percentage on a similar amount of passes, slightly less yards, more touchdowns, same amount of interceptions. Bryce Young played better through 4 games than Caleb Williams has. Caleb Williams has had better players around him. So now coming into this game, you're playing a guy that played worse than Bryce Young through his first 4 games. Caleb Williams, I believe, is a better prospect. I believe he's a player that will go on to success. He'll figure it out, but he hasn't figured it out yet, and you can take advantage of that. It is worth noting that Chicago is undefeated at home. They beat Tennessee 24-17 at home. They beat Los Angeles, meaning the Rams, 24-18 at home. They've lost both games on the road. So Carolina going to Chicago. I guess you're looking to buck that trend. Here is Dave Canales on why the Bears have been so good at home.
Honestly, it just comes down to the ball. So if you look at the games they've won, Caleb Williams did a great job with the ball. They happen to be at home. So you had a great chance. You got a great chance when you take care of the ball or take it away. It gives you your probability of winning goes up. So they did a good job of that at home, and we got to make sure that we take care of the ball and then we go get it.
Make sure that you take care of the ball and go get it. That is the equivalent, and I point this out every single time. It's not wrong. It's right, and coaches are right to preach turnovers. Get the defense, get the ball, offense, protect it. They are right to do that. But that is the equivalent of saying the key to a basketball game is put the ball through the hoop more. Yeah, turnovers. That's also significantly more easily said than done. Great, if we win the turnover battle, we win the game. All right.
Go do it.
Yeah, that's not exactly like a schematic change. It's not like, hey, if we run more RPOs, we'll win the game. You can control that. It's not like, hey, we have to get the ball into XYZ players' hands. You can control that. Turnovers aren't always that easy. All right? Things happen. Bleep happens. But you're right. If you win the turnover battle, I have a good idea of who's going to win the game. There it is. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Be angry if you lose. And show it. Show it. One of the few things that I've just had to nitpick a little bit from Dave Canales as far as how he's acted as the mouthpiece of an organization and the face of an organization is those 2 games earlier this year. I don't know, man. It seemed like he was trying to put on the happy face too much. I'm going no, it's okay to be angry after you lose to the Saints by 1 billion. It's okay to show a little frustration. The great coaches do it. They make sure it's earned, but they do it. And also, what you get mad at does show what's unacceptable. Right? There's some setting there. So if you lose to the Bears, be angry. There it is. Although can you ever imagine Canales having like a bleep-filled rant at the podium?
Oh, if that happens, that's going to be shocking.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I don't think he will. I think he's got some Phil Rivers in him. He'll be up there giving us all the dadgummits, all of the golly darns, all of that. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's go ahead and grab some numbers game contestants. Dennis, we have the SAS Championship tickets, Prestonwood Country Club in Cary.
That we do.
Friday, October 11th to Sunday, October 13th. Mm-hmm. You get to pick the day you want to attend. The tickets for today have porch access.
Yes, so you'll get to pick the day you want to be on the porch on 18.
There it is.
For one day.
You get the exclusive porch on 18 access for one day of your choice. Just pick which day you'd like to attend. The number to call in to play the numbers game, which you'd have to win to get the SAS Championship tickets, which is a Champions Tour event, by the way, is 919-860-5326. Call in right now, 919-860-5326. We need 2 contestants because the numbers game is coming up.
Keep pounding. Panther Talk, Panthers Playbook, the Paw Print. Follow your Carolina Panthers all season with us.
Dalton is in empty. Here's the snap. Pocket holds. Andy fires downfield. 1-6. Touchdown. End zone. Center cut. Deontay Johnson.
Your home for complete Carolina Panthers coverage. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $200 in bonus bets when they bet $5. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. Terms and conditions apply.
If you're a State Farm customer affected by the recent hurricane and need to submit a claim, go to statefarm.com, call 1-800-SF-CLAIM, download the State Farm mobile app, or contact your local State Farm agent. With one of the industry's largest catastrophe response teams, State Farm and your agent are ready to help. Go to statefarm.com to start your claim. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
I'm Kamala Harris, candidate for president, and I approve this message. So many of you have told me about your plans for the future. Starting a business, buying a home, retiring near your grandchildren. But prices are too high. So let me tell you what I will do about it as president. I will take on price gouging. I will lower the cost of healthcare insurance. We cap the cost of insulin at $35 a month for seniors. I'm running to do that for everyone. And I will provide new down payment assistance to first-time home buyers and tax benefits to people who want to start their own business. Donald Trump, well, he wants to give more tax breaks to the wealthy, whereas I will cut taxes for the middle class instead. Because I know working people want to do more than just get by. You want to get ahead, and that's the future you deserve. And that is what I will focus on every day as your president. Paid for by Harris for President.
Join Bailey's Fine Jewelry for an extraordinary Rolex event on October 11th and 12th. Whether you're a seasoned watch collector or a first-time buyer, this is a watch show you cannot afford to miss. Bailey's pre-owned Rolex show will feature styles like the Rolex Daytona, Submariner, and iconic collector pieces like the Pepsi and Hulk. Mark your calendar for Friday, October 11th and Saturday, October 12th, and make your way to Bailey's Fine Jewelry in Raleigh's Village District. Learn more at baileybox.com.
We're kicking it this fall with college football. Join 99.9 The Fan all season long and catch your favorite teams in action. The ACC, the SEC, and every conference that matters. You'll find the best matchups here.
Jordan Moore delivers, and the Blue Devils have the lead.
College football on 99.9 The Fan is brought to you by Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC in Sanford and by Amedios.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. We have Ben in Durham. We have Tyler in Raleigh, and they are ready to battle it out on the tundra of the numbers game. Only one will emerge with the SAS Championship tickets, the Champions Tour event coming to Prestonwood Country Club on October 11th. We have a pair of tickets going to the winner. Ben in Durham, are you there?
I'm here.
All right. You get to answer a question first. We pick our favorite answer, see which one gets to go first in the game, which contestant. The question on Fridays is always the same. This upcoming weekend, what are you looking forward to most of this weekend? But because we're a sports show, keep it sports related.
So I'm in Durham. I'm a Duke fan. I'm looking forward to a little bit about Countdown to Craziness tonight over at Cameron Indoor Stadium because I'm pretty excited about the prospects for this year's team, and I kind of want to see what the mix of transfers and incoming freshmen look like. Very solid answer, and actually I'm pretty optimistic about your squad as well, just to throw that in there. We'll go to Tyler and Raleigh. We got Durham versus Raleigh going on here. Again, it's a battlefield. Tyler, same question to you. This upcoming weekend, what are you most looking forward to? But because we're a sports show, keep it sports related.
I'm actually a bowler, so this Saturday I have a bowling tournament. Hopefully, win about $5,000.
Wow. Just like what's the personal best? What are we looking at here?
Oh, I have 11,300.
There you go. Casual with it too.
And why aren't you a pro?
I don't have time, honestly.
That's fair. That's fair. All right.
And I don't have a backer, so if you want to back me, let me know.
I mean, 11,300s. I don't know how good pros are, but I would brag about it. Dennis, which one are you choosing? Are you choosing the Midnight Madness, or are you choosing the going for $5,000 in a bowling tournament?
This is not gonna lie. This one's kind of
hard.
This
is not apples to apples comparison. This is
easy.
Oranges to roofing shingles.
All right, because you're gonna want count down to Midnight Madness and all that kind of stuff. At Cameron Indoor, you get to see, you could sit there and say, hey, I saw Cooper Flagg,
Darn right.
Before he even played college, basketball truly. So you have that, but also like, hey man, I got some money at stake. I'm actually competing in this. I got to go Tyler and Raleigh. These are both really good. I'm going to go Tyler and Raleigh. I got something I can tangibly win this weekend.
I don't hate the answer, but I do think it's an upset. I think the favorite was Midnight Madness, but I don't hate the answer.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Tyler on this one.
Tyler the Bowler, you get to go first. Are you ready to pick your category?
Yes, sir.
All right. The categories are NFL starts with K. These are all players whose first name starts with K. NFL 2013 NFL Top 100 players. Baseball Hall of Famers because we're in the playoffs, or NHL Canes and Whalers only?
I'll go starts with K.
Okay. All players whose first names start with K, NFL players. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. Any questions before we get started?
No, sir.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Kirk Cousins, Atlanta Falcons.
8.
Incorrect. Kurt Warner, St. Louis Rams.
9.
Incorrect. Kirk Cousins, Atlanta Falcons.
12.
Incorrect. Kurt Warner, St. Louis Rams.
10.
Incorrect. Kirk Cousins, Atlanta Falcons.
4.
Incorrect. Kurt Warner, St. Louis Rams.
Pass.
Cordell Stewart, Pittsburgh Steelers.
24.
Incorrect. Kirk Cousins, Atlanta Falcons.
18.
Are we giving it that was it?
Yes.
Was it under the? It was under the wire.
Right there at the buzzer. We'll give it to him.
Kirk Cousins with 18. You got it. Kurt Warner with the St. Louis Rams. Greatest show on turf. Quarterback wore number 11. Cordell Stewart with the Steelers, number 10. He was the original Slash, right? He could do it all. You got one. Last possible second, you got one, so you didn't get shut out. We'll see if it holds up. Go ahead and sit on the line.
Alrighty.
Shot was released before the buzzer. I think Kirk Cousins wore 8 in Washington and 8 in Minnesota,
Yes.
I think. So I think that's, he said 8 initially. So that makes sense.
No, there are good misses on this game. There are also bad misses. For example, Cordell Stewart, number 24. That one doesn't make a ton of sense. But yes, the Kirk Cousins one was right on top. I'm only kidding, good-natured. That brings it to Ben in Durham. Ben in Durham, are you there?
Yes, still here.
All right. The categories remaining for you to choose from are NFL 2013 NFL Top 100 players, Baseball Hall of Famers due to the playoffs, and NHL Canes and Whalers only.
I'll take Baseball Hall of Famers.
Nice. First person to make this choice. We'll give you the team and the player. You give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. Any questions before we get started?
Nope, ready to go.
All right, you need 2 for the win. And your time will start when you hear the horn. Cal Ripken Jr., Baltimore Orioles.
Number 8.
Correct. Ken Griffey Jr., Seattle Mariners.
24.
Correct. Mike Piazza, New York Mets.
31.
Correct. Joe Mauer, Minnesota Twins.
20.
Incorrect. Alan Trammell, Detroit Tigers.
13.
Incorrect. Joe Mauer, Minnesota Twins.
8.
Incorrect. Alan Trammell, Detroit Tigers.
Pass.
Joe Mauer, Minnesota Twins. You got 3. That's plenty to win. Joe Mauer, number 7. You got right there next to it with 8. Thought you might have had a chance. Trammell, we would have accepted number 3 or number 42. He wore both. But you got Cal with 8. You got Griffey with 24. You got Piazza with 31. And you got the win. So congratulations.
Awesome. Thanks very much.
Of course. Go ahead and stay on the line. Dennis has some info he needs to get from you. But also, congratulations and enjoy Midnight Madness. There you go. Duke fan gets the win. And we'll get to see Cooper Kupp over the weekend. You want to know a fun fact?
Kupp?
Cooper Kupp? I'm going to do that 1 billion times.
You sure?
100 billion times. It's like the one week where the Canes play the Florida Panthers, and we also are still talking Carolina Panthers. I can just guarantee you it's going to happen a bunch of times. Cooper Kupp, Cooper Rush, Cooper Flagg, all of the Coopers. Amari Cooper. That I know who I'm thinking of. You guys should just keep up, right? That's how it works. Quick story, though, because Mike Piazza, number 31, was just there, and the Mets just punched their ticket to the divisional round last night in dramatic fashion. Here's an embarrassing story that an embarrassing story about my youth that shows how much of a Mets fan I am. So AIM, AOL Instant Messenger. Back in the day, we're talking dial-up, right? Everybody had their usernames. I was no different, right? I had the little screen name that you'd tell your friends, and they'd be on the little buddy list, and then you could chat back and forth. My screen name was inspired by my baseball nickname, which lasted like a month. So when I first got my AOL account, like that summer or whatever, playing baseball, I had been hit by a bunch of pitches, right? Everyone's playing. For whatever reason, I got hit by a bunch of pitches. So a couple guys on my team started calling me the Magnet. So, of course, my AOL screen name was the Magnet, and then the number of my favorite baseball player, Mike Piazza. So I was the Magnet 31, which, when you're young, whatever, you explain it, ha, 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 I got hit by a bunch of pitches. But as I got older, it was like middle school and stuff, people started going, oh, is that because you think you're a chick magnet? And I would have to go, no, I'm not that cool or confident. I couldn't pull that off. It's because I used to get hit by baseballs a lot, and people called me the Magnet for like a month.
Huh.
And then I became the Magnet 31 because 31 was Mike Piazza's number, and I was catcher. So my Mets fandom goes all the way back to embarrassing AOL Instant Messenger screen name days, which not great. Not great.
You survived.
Yeah, but I when people are, oh, I had an embarrassing one, they're like, what was it? It was like Surfer Dude 4. I'm like, that's not embarrassing. That's it's kind of cool. The Magnet 31 is a really bad name.
Yeah.
It's just, it takes way too much explanation, and it's not even a good story once you get there. It's like
okay, cool.
Yeah, it's like.
So you like baseball?
So you like baseball, and you got hit. But like if your nickname for baseball was like, the rocket launcher because you hit home runs or something.
Slugger 31.
Yeah, exactly. No, mine was I got hit by a bunch of pitches for like a month, and people called me the Magnet. And guess what? Like a month later, I was no longer getting hit by pitches. The nickname didn't last. It's not like I was known by my buddies as the Magnet forever. It's just my screen name stuck for years and years. Probably should have got a new one. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, and we have our picks to make, here's Dennis Cox.
Hey, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. Talking about, making a pick. If you're injured in a motorcycle accident, make sure you pick Law Tigers as the first person you call, the first people you call at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS before you call your insurance company. And here's the reason why. Insurance companies, they want to pay the least amount possible. Let's be real. If you ever dealt with an insurance company in any way, shape, or form, they're a pain in the tail. Law Tigers, they're riders too. They know what your bike is worth. They know what your gear is worth. They know what you're going through after an accident. They've been there before. That's why your case evaluation with them is always free, and they do not get paid until your case settles. So again, injured in a motorcycle accident, be safe out there on the road. But unfortunately, they happen. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm. And also, by the way, real quick, people, for anyone out there driving on the road, be wary that, hey, this time of year, you're going to see a lot more motorcycles out there on the road. So make sure you're cognizant out there and be safe.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have to make our picks for the weekend, and we're going to do just that coming up next.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
Any win early in the season for the Jets is consequential. Think about what a hot mess they were last year. This is them proving to themselves that they can get it together, that they can be a functional franchise, that they can be a functional offense and have a functional quarterback. We have not seen this from the New York Jets in a long time.
Unsportsmanlike.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Hey Raleigh homeowners, this is Keith Gregory, Vice President with Baker Home Exteriors, but more importantly, a homeowner like you. I invite you to join the thousands who have trusted us to service and upgrade their homes. We treat every home as the sanctuary it is, transforming and preserving homes with roofing, siding, doors, decks, and window services for over a century. Trust our expert team for professional installation. Visit bakerroofing.com and schedule a time with our team.
This report is brought to you by Macy's. Don't miss Macy's VIP sale. Use your coupon or Macy's card and take an extra 30% off the latest fall trends and save 15% off skincare, makeup, and more. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply. Now at Macy's.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this. If something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Time is up. The IRS is in full collection mode for 2024, issuing liens, levies, and garnishments to anyone who has a past tax debt or unfiled tax returns. Don't wait till it's too late. Your paycheck and bank accounts are at risk of being seized. Call now and stop the collection process today. If you're living check to check, no matter how much you're making, you still may qualify for the Fresh Start programs offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax debt. It's just a 5-minute call to get your options, and it's free. If you owe back taxes, have years of unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bank levy, or finally just want to sleep better, business or personal, call the experts at Republic Tax Relief while there's still time. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and tough. This veteran-owned company has the fight you need to take on the IRS. Don't go at it alone. The call is free. Call their hotline number now, 800-652-1714. That's 800-652-1714. Find out if you qualify today. Call 800-652-1714 or go to republictaxrelief.com.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary. Paid for by AMD Financial.
99.9 The Fan and Coastal Credit Union are proud to announce the return of the Coastal Credit Union Scholar Athlete of the Month. For more than 20 years, we have honored over 200 student athletes that are making a difference on their team and in their community. If you are a teacher, parent, coach, or guardian, nominate your Scholar Athlete today. We will select one winner a month to be featured on 99.9 The Fan and on WRAL News Plus. To nominate a winner, text AWARD to 919-860-5326. That's AWARD to 919-860-5326.
Congrats to last year's winners. Emma Penkunas of Holly Springs High School, Connor O'Toole of Athens Drive, Kenzie Smith of Fuquay Varina, Patience Ifadon of South Garner High, Carrie Ellen Bryan of Southern Lee, Carson Parker, Apex Friendship, Jason Howard of Wakefield High School, and Eric Stoll of Green Level. We also want to thank all of our other local schools who nominated a student: Apex Friendship, Jordan Matthews, Northwood, Green Hope High, Willow Springs, Jacksonville High, South Granville, Cleveland High, Riverside, and South Johnston.
This is Creighton Blackwell with Coastal Credit Union, and I would like to offer my sincerest thanks to every school that nominated a student for this year's award. This award is more than a celebration of exceptional athletes. It's also a celebration of the schools and the communities that helped them grow into the incredible leaders that we like to celebrate.
Congratulations to all of our Coastal Credit Union Scholar Athletes of the Month. If you want to nominate a high school athlete, text AWARD to 919-860-5326.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. There is hockey here on 99.9 The Fan tonight. It is a preseason hockey night in Carolina, as the Canes and most of their, what I consider their day one roster, will be playing today against Tampa, who they will be playing in their season opener a week from today.
That's right.
So it's really like a dress rehearsal for the opener a week from today. It's places, everybody. Know your marks. That's happening today at 7 o'clock puck drop, which means 6:30 Stormwatch with Adam Gold. It'll all be right here on 99.9 The Fan.
That's right.
Don't forget it. And also the NHL season did kick off, or
it did actually officially today.
Terms. The Devils, first place overall. Steph Nason is on pace for what? 82 goals?
He scored the season opening goal.
Look at that.
Former Cane shows up somewhere else, scoring goals. That's always how it goes. Where was that? No, actually, I like Nason, and I think big fan of his.
Think he had a solid season last year, and obviously ended up in New Jersey, is what it is. Right now, though, it's time to make our picks. Heading into the weekend every week, we make our picks. Oh, you're right. I almost forgot. Dennis just reminded me. I told the story of my embarrassing AOL Instant Messenger name from like 20 years ago. And a caller, apparently, I don't know much about it. What's the name? Rich called in and said, I can top that story. That's about all I know. So, Rich, thank you for calling in. Give us the story of your AOL Instant Messenger or embarrassing screen name.
Hey, Tip. So back in high school, I was the rare dual threat place kicker / linebacker.
Okay.
So my freshman year of college, I walked on as a place kicker at the University of South Carolina. And AOL had just become a thing. It was late 90s. And so my screen name, I thought I was being clever, was Cox PK51, which was my linebacker number in high school. Well, what is an 18-year-old guy trying to do with AOL but pick up girls, right? So, and I wasn't having any luck at all. And then finally, I had a girl point blank ask me, why would you purposely name yourself Coxbank?
Well,
Cox, PK. Yeah.
Sorry, you broke up just a little bit there. Yeah, you know what? You probably should have seen it coming if we're being honest. Is he there? Are you there?
Oh, we think we lost him.
Oh, we lost him. I mean, like, Dennis, we've talked about this with you. Your last name is Cox.
Yeah, COX.
So there are certain things you got to, like, be on the lookout for, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, I know that my name put in certain places are going to elicit giggles. I think if you, like, I know they're the Gamecocks, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you put that somewhere in a name, I feel like you got to be on high alert. You got to know what it might end up looking like. But it's still kind of funny.
Yeah, there's a lot of play on words with my last name.
That's what I'm saying. You just got to be aware.
You know, if I have kids one day, there's some names that I won't be able to have.
Well, I've
kids.
I think I may have
That's
told
fine.
this story. One of the guys I went to middle school and high school with, his name was Eric Horn, and the school gave us email addresses that were your last name and then your first initial. So his was Horn E, and gosh, did the middle schoolers get a run out of that?
Well, there you go.
Like, there's just certain names, there's certain words, you just got to pay attention to kind of where they are and what's going on. That would be maybe in the summertime we'll do a what was your screen name and why, because there's some good stories out there. But not in the middle of football season when we got football every day. We got hockey starting up. We got basketball starting up. We got baseball going on in the playoffs. We don't need to fill time.
And we have
with
picks to make.
And we have picks to make. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Thank you for calling in, though, Rich.
All right, first one. Let's go with SMU, who just trounced Florida State on the road at Louisville. Louisville, 6.5-point favorite.
Gosh, it better be Louisville. Please, Louisville. I'm picking Louisville.
Because they have to be.
Because they're like a contender, kind of ish.
Yeah.
SMU is also. I mean, they've been wildly inconsistent. They have looked very not good at times, and if that's the wrong way to say that, I excuse my grammar. So, give me Louisville for the reason of maybe they're a little bit more consistent, and for the ACC's hopes and dreams, we need it.
All right, next one. This one is going to be in the battle of the billable hours between number 15 Clemson at Florida State. Florida State, 14.5-point dogs in this one.
So am I picking against the spread here, or am I just picking?
I'm just giving you I'm giving you that if you want to include it.
No, Clemson.
Well, Clemson's going to win.
Yeah, Clemson's going to win by way more than 14.
Yeah,
way more.
Yeah, they should. They should run away with this one by 37.
I mean, Florida State's going to almost – I wouldn't be surprised if Florida State tries to, like, slow down the game, not because they think that's how they win, just because that's how they make the final score not as embarrassing.
Yeah, look a little bit more respectable.
Yeah, I mean, it's – Clemson – I know Georgia made them look bad. Week one's always a little weird.
Yep.
And Georgia's got some, for lack of a better term, dogs.
Has some dudes.
So Clemson is not a bad team.
Pitt at UNC. Pitt is a 2.5-point favorite in this one.
I think I have to take Pitt.
Do you?
UNC's just too all over the place. They're too scatterbrained right now.
Too chaotic.
But they're another one. It's going to be like week 10, and I'm going to be saying, if they put it together, I still like their chances. And so, like, if they put it together, like, you know, I'm not going to be surprised if UNC wins by 2 scores, but I'm picking Pitt. That's how this goes.
That's fair. That's fair. NC State 4-point favorites at home against Wake Forest.
I think State wins. I think 4 is a good number. I think it's going to be tight. I think it'll be close. Give me State by, I guess, a field goal. So they won't cover, but they win. Is that taking the cheap way out?
No, it's not.
I don't,
a 23-20 type deal?
Yeah, I don't see them as a team that's going to run away from anybody. But they might be able to, scratch and claw their way to a short victory.
By the way, that game kicks off at noon. You can listen to that over on Mix 101.5. A game tomorrow night, prime time. You can listen to it over on Buzz Sports Radio. Duke at Georgia Tech. That's an 8 o'clock kick. Georgia Tech is an 8.5-point favorite in this game.
I definitely think Duke covers. I think I'm inching towards. I won't do it till tomorrow morning, but I'm inching towards, if the number stays at 8.5.
Yeah,
picking Duke on the money line and getting a nice little payout. I think this is, on a neutral field, I think this is a pick 'em.
Mm-hmm.
It's at Georgia Tech, so maybe they're favored by a little bit, but the value would be money line. So, so forget it. Give me Duke to win.
Okay,
I'm not afraid.
I'll take the Blue Devils in this one.
I'm not afraid. Manny Diaz, give him that grade A top of the line speech. Get him really fired up for this one.
All right, couple of NFL games to top it off here. Sunday Night Football, Cowboys at Steelers. Steelers 2.5-point favorites in this one. At home.
This could be. I don't watch a lot of Steelers, so it could be a reputation that shouldn't still apply, but it does.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want Justin Fields in prime time.
Oh.
Give me the Cowboys to win.
Wow.
Again, this could be like, it could not apply anymore, but I haven't really seen it with my own eyes. It's give me Dallas, even without Micah.
Okay, that's fine.
Use it as motivation. Go send it to your team.
I will.
Are you picking the Steelers?
Of course.
Bounce back. By how much?
Steelers win this one 24-17.
See, I think 17 points CD's going to get by himself.
And that's the only one that's going to score. That's it.
All right.
Final one, Panthers at Bears. Bears are 4-point favorites in this one. 1 o'clock kickoff Sunday. You can listen to this one over on Mix 101.5 on Sunday. 1 o'clock.
I want to say for the second time in the last 15 games for the Panthers, I'm picking the Panthers.
Let's go.
I'm picking the Panthers. I think they should be disappointed if they don't win. I think they're good enough. I think you need a big game from Chuba and a big game from Deontay. And maybe a big game from Xavier Legette, but we have no reason to not expect those guys to have big games. Andy Dalton's going to get him the ball. Are you with me?
Oh, yeah,
okay.
100%.
All right, I just wanted to make sure.
Panthers in this one. Panthers win it. It's going to be more low scoring, 23-17.
A little higher than that, probably 31-28.
That's pretty high scoring.
Maybe 31-21.
Okay.
I don't see Caleb Williams getting it going. We are right up against it here on The Drive because we got to turn things over to Overdrive, and then at 6:30, Stormwatch with Adam Gold to get you ready for the Canes Lightning preseason game, which will start at 7 o'clock here on 99.9 The Fan. We'll be back at Monday at 3 to break down the entire weekend. Until then, have a great weekend, everybody.
Move your sports day forward.
No matter how the rest of the year goes for the Carolina Panthers, the great